Good morning. It's Saturday, the 1st of September, Labor Day weekend. For those of you having a 3-day weekend, congratulations. Unlike myself, I have to work. It's Shootin Da Breeze. I'm your host, TakersMinion. Learn to speak. I'm joined, as always, with my co-host, my crime partner, my bestest friend in the world, Mr. Dr. Senju. Good morning to you, sir.
Oh wait, it started already? Okay. Oh, sorry. Not enough there. Hi. Good midnight. Good midnight. Okay. We're going with that. Good midnight. How are
Okay,
you, good sir?
I'm fine. I'm doing well, actually. I'm awake and
Okay.
alive. That's
That's
about
good.
it.
How's your week going?
It's been weird. We got a storm going on here now.
Wow, okay. The stroke of autumn, and you guys get storms. I get
Autumn. We're gonna
still
have
summer.
temperature. We're gonna have above normal temperatures all the way to mid-November.
Oh goodness. Oh, that's
Yes.
fun. It's gonna be fun. That is always going to be fun. Over here in my side of the world, it's just peachy. It's always just
I know it's.
peachy over
I
here.
know it's been warm.
Has been warm, has been sweaty, with a little bit of clouds, and that's just pretty much it. And sometimes you get rain, but not complaining at all. This is how weather works here.
And we're also joined this morning by someone who took about the last 5-6 weeks off because he had
Hiatus,
computer.
I guess.
He took a hiatus. He had
Mhm.
computer issues. Then he was ill and in the hospital. He's home now. Got his computer problems solved. The one and the only, the co-host of Connoisseurs of Wrestling with yours truly, Legends Lover, and the newest edition, George Savez,
Mhm.
Biff Kensington III. Good morning to you, sir.
Yay! He made his grand return back again from I don't know what's going on.
Do what diddy dum diddy dee. That's how the Biff do.
Right.
Well, that's a good thing. At least you're doing all right. You're
He's
doing
he's
better
he's
than you were a few weeks back.
Well, considering that I almost died a few weeks back, yeah, I'm doing much better.
Yeah,
It
I
was.
was
Oh,
worried
tell
about
us
that.
more about the how you almost died, or should you not tell anything about it?
I mean, I can do the graphic version or the not graphic version. What would you prefer?
Non-graphic.
From here,
Graphic
I
it
thought
is.
we're going for the graphic. It is.
Graphic. I joke about it now, but the only reason I joke about it is because I'm actually able to semi laugh without hurting, which is in all seriousness, that is a joy that I did not know that I would be able to have for a
Mhm,
while.
mhm.
I actually did almost die in the hospital. The doctor at one point actually came in and said, you need to have end of life plans in place because this is very touch and go. There were entire days that I lost in the hospital, just
Mm.
completely unaware of anything going on around me. I was so zonked out on pain medicine.
Wow.
Um, so it was scary. It was frightening. But thankfully, by the grace of God, I got out of there. Um, it's been a long recovery. I'm still not completely back. One of the byproducts of this, the longer I talk, the less I feel good,
Mhm.
which is, very unfortunate for a windbag like me because I generally have, infinite gift of gab. Um, so I have to be measured, take it easy, not exert myself too much. Have to switch out my normal viewing material for things that are a little bit more bland and boring. But
What is
uh,
your normal viewing material, by the way?
U.S. Constitution gives me the right to remain silent.
So you're exercising. You're taking the fifth.
Yeah, he's exercising his Fifth Amendment.
Did
Right.
you just say I'm exercising my dick in the fifth?
No, Fifth
Fifth
Amendment.
Amendment.
Wow, I misheard that. Okay. Um,
This actually draws
I'm,
the line
I'm,
where what he's looking for from a more bland perspective now.
well, Angel's talking about me filling his mouth, so
Oh goodness.
Oh, good gracious.
Oh fuck!
With nutritional value, folks. With nutrition.
No.
Still doesn't work. It still doesn't work.
That wasn't so much a pivot as I just kind of fell. Angel, I love you, buddy.
No, moving on.
We got some housekeeping to do.
You too.
Before the housekeeping, what do you have? What have you gotten for
Well,
dinner
last
today?
week, what did I have for dinner last night?
Yeah, what did you have for dinner last night?
Oh,
You
God.
know, we're gonna ask you. No,
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you this.
Yes, I know.
Yep.
Well, I had sweet and sour chicken last night for dinner, homemade.
Wow. Okay.
White rice, romaine hearts of romaine salad with tortilla
Again?
strips, ham, cheese, ranch dressing.
Homemade ranch dressing, I assume.
No, bother.
Oh, this one not. This one's
Hidden
not.
Valley
Okay.
Ranch, damn it, the best there is.
The best there was and the best there ever will be.
Good on you, Biff, for going all Bret Hart on us on that one.
Hey, I'm here to please.
Of course you do.
And don't call me the best man in 5 states for nothing.
Most wanted, maybe, but not best.
Most wanted. Infamous, maybe, but
Hey, I told you that was a complete misunderstanding. I just have a thing for bicycle seats.
Okay.
Let's move on.
All right. Like I said, some light housekeeping to take care of today. Today is the day that Senator John McCain is being put to rest. That should just about be over. It's at the National Cathedral. Senator John McCain was an American hero, Vietnam veteran, survived 5 years in at the Hanoi Hilton, 3.5 of which he was in solitary. So,
that's
rest
one
in
of
peace, John McCain.
Yep, that's one.
And,
It's one. The other one would be Aretha Franklin. Buried
yeah,
yesterday.
Aretha Franklin was buried yesterday, and there was some controversy. I don't know all the controversy. Don't want to go into it.
Nah, I don't.
Well, I read up on it. It was there.
What do you mean?
Elaborate on this one further.
I probably shouldn't.
Did it have racial undertones or overtones to it?
The hell you say? Yeah, it was all racial. It was
Okay, then we won't go into it.
All right.
That's
All right.
good enough.
I was gonna say we could go back to the porn talk if you want to. That might be a little bit gentler.
Nah.
Let me put it to you this way. The Twitter was ablaze, and that's all you.
Yeah.
need to know.
So I've seen. Yeah. On that
I
point.
didn't
Yeah,
see it because I look at Twitter. I look at regular timeline Twitter as garbage in, the garbage out. So, but anyway, and also we lost a Joshi wrestler this week.
I saw that.
Yes, Ray, also known as Lynn Byron. She also passed away from brain cancer that took John McCain. She was aged 36 years old, though. She was young. So we lost her as well. So, I mean, it's been a pretty, sad week in wrestling.
It has been. Pretty sad week for people in general.
For people in general, yes.
Yeah.
Because I think last Saturday it was that John McCain passed away. It was like 4:30 in the afternoon on Saturday or Sunday. I can't remember which.
And
To me, he's an American hero. Always will be. Anybody that says anything else, they all can rot. He did more for veterans. He did more for veterans than anybody.
Okay.
And what am I?
You're a veteran.
That's right.
Yeah.
Salute you, John McCain.
As you should be, because considering.
So, what are we going to talk about first? We're going to talk about WWE.
Well, this week I titled the whole thing as the variety show featuring BIFF, written in crayon under the whole banner of this.
Damn Skippy, hippie. Woo!
So we have a lot to talk about, considering that other than breakfast, other than graps, we are going to go almost to everything, I guess. Because last week you already told us that the football season is starting.
Yeah,
Sumo Basho is college football is starting.
Today,
Sumo Basho is about to begin
next week.
next
I
week.
was mistaken. I was mistaken in my days.
Okay. At least it's starting. At least it's starting.
And this is going to be the first Basho in a while that we're going to have all three, according to everything I'm hearing on all reports I'm hearing, we're going to have all three Yokozuna at that Basho. That's Hakuho, Kisina Sato,
And Kakuryu.
Kakuryu, yes. And we got two Ozekis that saved themselves last Basho, and one that's Kadoban now. That's Ozeki Tochinoshin. He had to withdraw from the last tournament due to a toe injury. And I know I saw when it happened. It happened in the fifth match of the Basho. He got his toe hung up on the Tarwa bales.
Oh, okay.
As someone that's had a history of toe problems, that just sounds freaking horrific.
It is.
It wasn't any ligament damage, so to speak. It wasn't torn. It was just strained. So there is that.
Yeah. I think I'm going to be that guy and predict that Kakuryu comes out of this Basho with a win. I just think that he's going to have something to prove after dropping out of the last Basho. I think he's the strongest of the Yokozuna, and I think he's going to be on a mission. I do think that Tochinoshin will probably get to his 8 wins. I don't think there's any real fear of him not getting there unless he gets hurt. Having 3 Yokozuna in the field definitely makes it more challenging, so I think it's going to be a real fun Basho.
Yes.
But I do think we're going to see Kakuryu take this one if he stays healthy, which after the last tournament, you never know. I don't think anybody expected all the Yokozuna to disappear last time, but they're back in.
Yeah, we had 3 Yokozuna and an Ozeki out last Basho.
They're back in Tokyo now, correct? This is the last Basho in Tokyo for the year.
Yeah, this is at the Kokuyakan.
Yep. Ryogoku Kokugikan. Kokugikan. Yes. There
I mean, Tochinoshin's had a lot of success in that building this year, so
yeah, he did. He won the January Basho in that building.
Came runner-up in May as well, so. Well,
and we got Mitaki Yumi as on his Ozeki run.
Mm-hmm.
I think he gets there. I honestly do. I think he gets there. I mean, he's going to have a very strong field to go up against. But
oh yeah, he's got the strongest field that's being put out there. He's got 3 Ozekis and 3 Yokozunas. He's got to go through.
Really?
Yeah.
Because from the one that I have, we have 2 Yokozunas who are officially in, and 2 Ozekis who are technically okay. Sorry, 3 Yokozunas and 3 Ozekis. There you go. Okay, now yes. I got it right. Okay.
Yeah, you got Hakuho, Kisina Sato, Kakuryu.
For the Yokos.
Who were the other 2 Ozekis? Dang it.
Takayasu, Tochinoshin, and Goedo.
Yes, Goedo.
I got the list. Don't worry.
Captain Henka. Goedo.
Captain Henka.
Captain Henka sounds like I can't express what it actually sounds like, but it sounds
Captain Henka sounds like Captain Henka sounds like someone who's going to sing Enka all of a sudden when he steps into sumo.
Sounds like a Sailor Moon villain.
What? In the name of the moon, I shall kill you.
I'm so sorry, everybody.
Because Goedo has a habit of doing that. And as an Ozeki, you shouldn't be. As an Ozeki, you should not be doing something like that.
There's competing schools of thought on that. The traditionalist would say, you should have more technique, you should be better than that. And then the pragmatist would say, do whatever you have to do to win.
Yeah.
Which, I mean...
But you know as well as I do that the Sumo Council or the Sumo Association frowns upon their upper ranks, their Sanyaku people, anybody Komosubi and above doing that. Because you have to have... And I mean, could you see Ichinojo doing a Henka? Come on, Ichinojo's so damn big he can basically bulldoze his way out if he ever gets his head on straight.
Well, he's probably too fat to do it, so I mean, he's too slow. No offense to him, I'm not making fun of.
He weighed in at 242.6 kilos for this basho.
Jesus. I'm trying to do the conversion in my head. That's well over 400 pounds. That's probably pushing 450, 475.
Mm-hmm.
Big boy.
That's a whole lot of man.
Big boy.
No buffet for you. No buffet for Ichinojo. And that's, like I said, that's the running joke. After he has his match, he goes to the concessions.
I see Chanko Nabe. Oh, and then go to sleep. I am happy.
We make jokes about him, and you've seen him, Biff. You've seen it on the thread.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's the one with the side boobs, right? The very noticeable flappy titties.
Yeah, we also call him Snorlax. You remember that?
Someone get a poke. Yeah, I do. Someone get a poke food somewhere. He's sleeping on the floor. Or
I've always wanted to tape like a Golden Corral bumper sticker to his side boob. Have him just walk out with sponsors on him. Because Golden Corral wants to place a restaurant right near one of their stables. So,
oh God, that would be bad.
Are you kidding? That would be amazing.
They would be able to keep. They would not be able to keep enough food in there.
I mean, oh, Mr.
No spare ribs for you.
I mean, here's the thing with it. Here's the problem with that, man. Part of their training is to eat, like 10 or 12,000 calories per meal, and after their midday meal, they take a 3-hour nap after they eat.
He would be the guy that just stands constantly at the chocolate fondue fountain. He's like, "Sir, would you like a plate?" "No, I'm good."
No, no, I'm good. I'm good.
What else can we stick sticks through? I need
chocolate fondue going. Hey.
What the hell is fruit?
He says he's trying to lose weight. Okay.
Liposuction. He can get his side titties removed. That's got to add drag to his speed.
Something. I mean, he can't even hardly move.
Hello?
He can hardly even move when he's on Tachi.
It's that his movement is delayed. He takes a step and his body don't stop moving for another 5 or 6 seconds.
Or he just reacts a little bit 1 second or 2 second off rather than the other one.
Yeah, the other one comes
his body.
Him, he just takes it. Boom.
It's not his fault he can't hinka. The gravitational pull keeps him upright.
He can't hinka.
The only thing about it is that it seems that the only one that can actually handle him quite easily is Tochinoshin.
That's because Tochinoshin's built like a brick shithouse.
He is.
The dude is like 92% muscle and 8%
fat.
Soviet willpower.
Soviet willpower.
He looks like a damn Soviet, like Red Army guy, like Ivan Drago's sparring buddy.
Has anybody actually looked at his face and I see who he has a face that looks like, and then it says, "No, I hope he doesn't get offended." But he looks a little bit like Leonid Brezhnev.
I told you, he looks like a damn Soviet.
Calm down. Calm down.
Pull up a picture of Leonid Brezhnev about his age, and then look at Tochinoshin. They have similar facial features.
Oh, little Biff is so confused now.
Each and every time I listen to you guys talk about henkai, I always remember one henkai I like to sing. Like it goes Ore wa ne kamo ni horeta tesogere oeji.
Henkai in the sumo world means basically the sidestep.
Yes.
Which is, I could see it from somebody like from Wakataka Kage doing it because he's so small.
I can see Abi doing it because he's Abi.
Abi won't do it. Abi's got too much class.
Really?
That kid is something else. He's always smiling. You look at this picture on NHK, when you see the NHK feed, they have him. He's got a grin. He's like, "I'm happy to be here." Win or
I
lose,
just-
win or lose, he's always smiling.
Yeah,
I
he's
just-
probably thinking
I
about
just
how
happy
things
to
are
be
Golden
here.
Corral.
No, I just happy to be here.
At Golden Corral.
Pretty
Never mind,
much.
Bring me
but-
more fruit drink.
Okay, never mind. I mean, you already have 3 Yokozunas, 3 Osekis,
So,
2
like I said,
Sekiwakes, and 2 Komosubis. So the rest of them are Megashiras in their ranks, their respective
yeah,
ranks.
he's got to Mitake Yumi's got to go through all the top ranks.
Yep, he needs to go to 6 Ozekis or probably just 3.
He has to go through all 3 Ozekis, all 3 Yokozunas, and he has to also go through the other 3
Rest of them.
the 2 Sekiwakes. I think he was a Sekiwake, so he has to go to 2 Komosubis and another Sekiwake. So that's 9 matches.
Mhm.
He's got 9 hard matches ahead of him. 9.
You said hard.
Let's
Yeah,
see,
right.
Ichinojo's a Sekiwake. He's got to face him.
Mhm.
Somebody's phone is ringing. I know whose it is too.
Is it yours?
What? No, listen to the beat.
It's yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay.
That's the Enka saga. Never mind. MDS is a little insane today. So
Yes, he is.
We have reached the clown car portion of today's show early.
okay.
Normally it takes a little while for me to get rolling, but you know,
You're doing all right.
I bring out the worst in MDS. So
You're doing all right.
yeah.
Really? You bring up the worst in what? In what?
Hell, the-
MDS, I could make you corpse on command if I wanted to. I could just make you bust out laughing at any point. I'm like a freaking Jedi Master and you're a Padawan, and I can just mind trick you into laughter.
Right.
he's done it.
I've done it all the time. I don't know why you deny it.
It's me. I deny everything.
Yeah, your mouth says no, but your body's like, oh my god, yes. See, I told you.
That's not course.
Suck it. Suck it.
This ain't DX. Calm down,
Yes,
Biff. Calm
Calm
down.
It's a DX. Anyway.
Anyway, but yeah, like I said, this there's a lot of intrigue in this Basho coming up.
Okay. So both
I mean,
both of you have the question.
probably going to be heading back up to Mayagashira. I haven't seen if he did or not. Let me look.
Who again? What?
Amenishiki, Uncle
Amenishiki.
Sumo.
Oh, Uncle Sumo. Okay.
Uncle Sumo.
That's what we call him.
I know.
Well,
And for the record, I think calling someone Snorlax is a bit extreme, but
Yeah,
I'm not the one who put that on him. Okay.
yeah, but you could, words hurt, jerk. You can break the cycle. See, I told you, MDS. I can have you laughing whenever I want to, pal.
No,
words hurt, jerk.
You are in my proverbial S&M dungeon, pal, and I am the one.
Okay. Amenishiki is Jurio 1 West.
Yes, he is Jurio.
Okay, you got excited reading the sumo, not me with the whip, right?
No.
Because his voice went up. He's like, "Whoa, whoa!" And then he started reading off the sumo, and I was like,
Wakataka Kage had himself a good Basho last time.
He did.
He's now a Jurio 7, yeah, on the west side. He was a Jurio 10, I think, last time.
Oh my gosh.
"Not bad. That's not bad at all."
No. Gagamaru fell down again. Dropped. He's done a Jurio 12.
Well,
That's the other Georgian.
Okay. Those listeners who are listening, there are 6 divisions that that are in the Banzuke itself,
Yes.
and both Taker and Biff are talking about the Juror division, which literally goes to the 2nd division. You can say.
That's the 2nd division, yes.
Yeah.
The bottom division is Yonokuchi.
Yep.
Then Johnny Dan, then Sandan Mei, Makushita, Jurio, and Makuuchi.
Yeah.
Hopefully I said
Makuchi is
all-
basically
hopefully I
Makuchi.
said them all right.
Yeah, basically Makuchi is the main event cards. Basically,
That's the top of the line.
Yeah.
Basically.
And then
That's the top of the line.
inside Makuuchi, you got the Maegashira's, but then, once you reach Komosubi, the rank of Komosubi, you're considered Sanyaku, the upper tier.
Yeah.
Of the and see Mitaki Yumi is a Sekiwaki, so he's got to face Ichinojo as one of them.
Mhm.
He's gonna wrestle Tamawashi, Takakesho. Takakesho had a strong basho last time around.
Mhm.
He did.
Well,
He bumped Kaisei down because Kaisei was a Komosubi going in.
here's the deal. I mean, you wrestle who you wrestle. I mean, you can't help injuries, and you do the best you can with who's in the field. I do think that we shouldn't read too much into the last basho because of all the injuries. It was an extremely difficult field to get a read on because of the attrition. When you lose, I mean, they lost what, 2 Ozeki and all 3 Yokozuna?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because both, Hakuo and Kakoryu, they both dropped out, and then you lost Tojinoshin right after Kakoryu dropped out. So the attrition in the last basho was just so extreme that it's going to be a much more challenging field this time, and I think we'll get a better feel for how people are developing.
What we'll see Mitaki Yumi come back to earth.
Yeah, probably. I would say that it's going to be a lot tougher for him this time, but I do think he'll have a good basho. I think that he's got the talent, and he's going to have the ability to showcase his stuff. I mean, he's got the stage right now, so
yeah, he's on his run, and I got to see what he has. Previous
okay.
bashos.
Well, he looks into that. Okay, Biff. Here's one question: who are you backing up? Who are you backing behind with all this coming up?
I think Kakoryu is taking this. I think the he was probably the strongest early on this year, and then he had the injury that forced him out the last basho. I think he's coming back, and he's going to be on a mission. I don't think.
Oh, sorry. I'm looking at Mitaki Yumi's numbers for the last 2 bashos.
Yeah.
Which are
9-6 and 13-2. He needs 12 wins or 11 wins.
That's I honestly
to make it. He needs 11 wins to make it.
I think that's his cap. To get there, I think he's going to need. I mean, he's going to need the 11 wins, but I think he's going to need at least one big win over an Ozeki or a Yokozuna too.
Yeah.
I don't think 11 gets him there. If he gets 12, he's probably safe. If he goes 11, I think he needs a big
11
win.
will give him 33 in 3 bashos with a championship.
That is true. That is
the
true.
championship weighs heavy.
That is true. He does have the championship, so that'll probably, because Tochinoshin.
He was a Maegashira 3, won the tournament, and was made a Sekiwake after that. Then they put him on. People were fighting it because he didn't have 33 wins in Sanyaku. Wow. See, but they made the exception because of the tournament victory.
Yeah, and then he almost won 2 in a row when he. No, it wasn't 2 in a row. It was he won in January, and then he almost won in May. So
yes, he did.
And then he had his 10 wins in.
Yeah, he was in there running until the 14th night.
Yeah.
No way. Yeah.
When he lost to Kakoryu.
Yeah.
Kako did the whole not try business. So.
But okay, going back to Biff's point about Kakoryu, he's backing on Kakoryu. Yeah, but on the July Basho, where he's defending, he had a very questionable July Basho with 3, 3, and 9, but he did actually almost swept the May Basho, which he got an impressive 14-1. So that basically this year, along this year, he has been scoring more than 10s. He's been scoring tens on January, March, and May, and then suddenly he had the July Basho, which didn't bode well for him. So.
I just think that when you look at the field right now and you look at his competition, you know, if you're going strictly by rank and you're looking at the Yokozuna, you know, I think it's pretty safe to say that, you know, Kakoryu is the best in the field. He is the strongest Yokozuna of the three right now, and when you consider the fact that they're back in Tokyo, this is the biggest stage that they're competing on in a year. He's coming off a bad performance. It's really the first bad performance of the year and the first bad performance in a while for him. I think that, you know, it's just set up to where this is Kakoryu's to lose. You know, yes. I mean, if he's not healthy and he's coming in with, you know, injuries that aren't being disclosed, then obviously that's going to shake things up a little bit. But I just think that, you know, given his last performance, he's going to want to come out and make a statement, and he's got the talent to make it. So, you know, he's the front runner until someone proves otherwise. It's their field of challenge right now.
That is true, but we'll just have to see on that one, considering the fact that he's, if we like you said, if you want to grade him on his performance last Basho, well, I can't really go on that one because I really can't. I really cannot, because that means I'll have to overlook the fact that he had impressively won on the past three Bashos this year. So can't really move that.
I think it's a response to the Basho. It's not because of it. It's not like he's carrying momentum. He needs to reestablish momentum.
Oh no!
He's not going to walk two bad Bashos in a row. And
yes.
And I have a difficulty calling it a bad Basho because he had to pull out from injury. But, you know, if you're just looking at, you know, 3, 3, and 9, well, obviously it's going to look bad on his resume. So he's going to want a better performance.
Yeah.
Agree.
So, he even said so. Kakoryu even said that.
Yeah.
He was very disappointed in the way he performed. But, you know, Kakoryu, you're saying Kakoryu could pull this out. He's been fighting a lot of injuries. That's the thing. And he was carrying the flag for the Yokozunas when Hakuho and Kasena Sato were out. So he was going out there hurt.
Well, there's just so many injuries at the top of the class right now. I mean, Tochinoshin's been battling injury. You know, we've practically only had 2 Yokozuna for the last, you know, however many months because.
Well, it seemed as though at one point they had 4, and then Hiromu Fuji decided to be an idiot with the beer bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he decided to beat Takanoiwa with the beer bottle at a bar.
Yeah,
which was dumb, and the JSA said, "Nope, you need to retire. We can't have that."
Yeah, and then they probably should have retired Kasena Sato with all of his missed Bashos. So.
But the thing with Kasena Sato, one of the reasons they've been giving him so much slack is Kakuryu and Hakuho are Mongolian. Kasena Sato is Japanese.
Yeah, and that's, you know, that definitely plays a factor.
We want no more Mongolian beef. We want more Japanese beef. So,
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I mean,
there's politics involved, whether people think there is.
Number one, it's politics. Number two, I don't think the current landscape of Japanese sumo division doesn't really mind that your champion is a Mongolian, because like I said months ago, if you prove yourself in front of the people, if you prove yourself in front of Japanese audiences that you belong on the stage, then you belong on the stage.
Exactly. I definitely think sumo has changed over the last 20 years. It's become a lot, and I'm not saying it's liberal like liberal politics. I'm just saying the standard is a bit more liberal now than it used to be, because you had controversy over promoting Gaijin Yokozuna, and that doesn't seem to be as big a deal anymore.
Well, one of the yokozunas that caused that they said was was controversial was Akebono.
Akebono, yeah.
The first American. He was the first American yokozuna.
Yeah.
From Hawaii.
Yeah, he's from Polynesian. Yeah, I guess you can call it Polynesians.
But he was United States.
Yeah. The larger picture is that he's a gaijin. He's a foreigner.
Right.
Coming into a Japanese dominated sport.
At that time, it was Japanese dominated. At the time he got into it, the time he went over there, you didn't have a lot of the Mongolians or the Georgians or the Russians or the Brazilians or what you got now.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, gaijin, it's pretty much been dominated by gaijin over the last decade.
Yeah. And like I said, I think Japanese audience don't mind that as long as you prove that you belong on the sport.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't need to point to just sumo. I can just point to wrestling. I can just point to baseball. I can just point to soccer. If you prove yourself in front of the Japanese audience, in front of the Japanese fans of the product itself, they'll accept you.
Well, I think that speaks to a larger culture shift in Japan too. I mean, Japan has always been a very homogenous, very close-knit cultural society that's kind of been opened up in the last, several decades. And that's starting to filter into the younger generations where you see, to your point, and, New Japan is a perfect test case here. You've got Kenny Omega, AJ Styles before him, it's been top-level gaijin performers leading the charge.
At that time,
holding the big belt, right?
Yeah, at that time, yes. And then and then a few decades before, it even accepted guys like Brock Lesnar, Bill Goldberg, what else was it? Brock Lesnar, Bill Goldberg, Hulk Hogan, I think.
Yeah, Stan Hansen.
Hansen.
Bruiser Brody.
Yeah.
Vader.
Brody. And even and if you want to go outside of wrestling, they even accepted Bob Sapp.
Even Captain Jack.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, if you prove in a greater sense of the whole, I think the younger generations believe this firmly. If you prove that you belong there, if you prove that you are worthy of my attention, then I'll give you the 100% attention that I give.
Well, the one question I have is this for you, MDS.
What?
Because I know at one time over in Japan, especially in baseball, they had the Japanese nationals, the Japanese players had their own set of statistics in the newspaper, and then the gaijins had their own. Are they combined now, or is it still that way?
Yeah, they're combined now. Don't worry.
Okay. Because you understand what
I know.
That was a big change. That was a big change.
The kind of segregations, yeah.
They were really anti-gaijin coming over and playing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that all that changed with Cecil Fielder because he went over there and made something of himself, and then came over here and tore it up.
Yes, exactly. Can't really deny on that one, but it is what it is, and well, nowadays it has been combined. It has been homogenized for both sets of players, foreign or imports or locals. So you want to say, if you want to say on a more regular thing, so. Yeah.
Well, I think that's the virtue of, especially the wrestling scene, which is kind of our bread and butter. But in other aspects too, it's the meritocracy that I think is the virtue that we should be looking towards, especially in this day and age. It's based on merit. That's why I like sumo so much. It's very much merit based. Every match is important. New Japan is largely, not completely, but largely merit-based. If you excel in the ring, you will get opportunities. It doesn't matter who you are. I mean, we learned that with Juice Robinson. Nobody expected NXT's CJ Parker to become a breakout star in New Japan, and here we are. So,
yeah, I agree.
It's merited, and I think more of that here in the States.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
see,
going
that's-
back to the and then going back on the sumo thing as well. You can't. You expect the first two yokozunas that you have both on the east and on the west. Probably you can just mix and match who's the first, second, and third or not. You expect the three top level guys are Japanese, but no, both of them are Mongolian.
Yeah, Yokozuna ones are both Mongolian.
Yeah. So
And
both
that's
of them.
it's strange to say that, but it's when I say it, it's Yokozuna ones. You know, Kisuna Sato is Yokozuna 2 East.
Yeah. Kisuna Sato is Yokozuna 2 East, and he's the pure Japanese guy.
Yeah.
The top two guys are Mongolian, and people accept that. And folks accept that because, well, these two guys prove that they are a crop, the cream of the crop in the terms of sumo wrestling. So
anybody that makes it up to Maegashira or up to the upper ranks of Makuuchi have paid their dues.
Kind of, yeah, you can say that.
Well, with Tochi Notion, he fell all the way down to
Ozeki.
No,
Oh, wait,
he fell all the way down to Makushita. He was down in the lower end of Makushita from his knee injury.
Yeah.
And surgery. And look where he is now. So he's proven the fact that you can climb back up.
Oh, and funny enough, he's a Georgian, so he's not.
Yeah, he's Georgian.
Guys, I hate to interrupt the sumo talk, but we have some breaking news in the sports world here in the States that I think Taker's going to be quite interested to hear.
Oh yeah, what's that?
We have a trade in the NFL. The Chicago Bears have acquired one of the best pass rushers in the league. Khalil Mack has been traded from Oakland to the Bears.
Wow.
Yeah, it is on ESPN.com.
Good segue.
What did they give up?
It's looking like it's going to be draft picks. Don't know what yet. It's supposedly a steep price, but you have one of the best pass rushers to go with Roquan Smith. So,
whoa, that's scary thought, because that defense is looking stout.
This is a game changer for Chicago. I think that defense is now one of the best in the NFC. So,
like I said, that defense was looking stout even before they added Khalil Mack. But hopefully they can sign him. That's the key.
According to Adam Schefter, they're working on a deal. So
because Donald just signed yesterday.
Yeah. So
okay, this is a good segue, considering that I just wanted to ask Taker one more question before we move on.
Sure. I'm sorry,
it's okay.
I was doing my Walter Cronkite thing. So.
Walter Cronkite. Okay. Breaking news.
That's the way it was.
That's the way the cookie crumbles. So,
okay. Anyway, what's your question, MDS?
Okay, who are you gonna back on?
I gotta go with my guy.
Okay.
I'll go with my guy.
From your lips to God's ears, pal. I hope you're right. I really do. I want Tochi Notion to pull out a win badly.
Okay.
I want him to bracket the year with the beginning of the first Basho in Tokyo and the last Basho in Tokyo with the championship.
Mm-hmm.
It would be awesome.
It would be. I mean, he did work up. At least he worked up. He worked hard from lower rank to upper ranks now. So that is pretty surprising on that end as well. But he could do that. So he can definitely do that.
Well, if he wins this Basho, he's going to earn it because this is a very strong field. It looks like. So
looks like it, considering the fact that the field has already been packed and at least all the Yokozunas and all the Ozekis are joining in. The ones that are fit and available anyways.
Sorry to say this, guys, but I've got to disappear for a little bit. I just got the call. I'm trusting you two to keep this show on track.
Oh, don't worry, pal. I got it.
Okay.
So I should be back in about a half an hour or so.
Half an hour.
Yeah.
If
you need help, you know who to call, MDS.
I know.
Ghostbusters.
All right. I'll see you guys in a bit.
No.
Yeah, there's going to be like a big plume of smoke rising up over Taker's house when he comes back. And
number one, plume of
the YouTube is on fire. So.
Well, number one, plume of smoke. Number two, we'll add a silent pause of 1 minute to not knowing what to talk about. But in any case, considering the fact that I was just about to move to American football, but
I am a professional. You can move to American football. I can carry this.
No, it's okay, because here's the thing. I don't have the information for American football because, again, I am way over here and I don't watch American football. The only knowledge of American football I have is reading a manga called I Shield 21. Those are you guys who are...
Wow. Well, maybe we should wait for Taker to get back. He may want to... I mean, we definitely need to wait for college football because I know he wants to talk some college football.
Yes, because I love to hear both of you guys talk about college football, and I'll try and chime in whenever possible. But in any case, okay. On to wrestling-related stories, I guess. Okay.
Considering never mind. We'll go football. Go football.
College football.
Oh, God, don't make me talk about... No, I'm just kidding. We can go to wrestling. That's fine.
Okay. Question number one. Have you watched any wrestling this week?
I watched both shows this week.
All right. How do you feel about it? Tell us how you really feel about that then.
Well, I'm kind of depressed that I watch Raw, but I am not a fan. Number one, let's just get the obvious out of the way. Okay. I honestly feel like Vince McMahon saw the reaction to the Becky Lynch heel turn, and he said, "Screw y'all, I'm doubling down. We're going to turn Braun too."
Isn't that on SmackDown or is that Raw?
Well, Becky's on SmackDown and Braun's on Raw, and
okay.
It was, we're going to turn one popular face heel, and it wasn't accepted. Well, screw you. We're going to turn another until you like it.
Okay.
It's just how it came across. I mean, I just don't understand the wisdom of turning Braun Strowman heel. And people, I think it's more.
Okay. Go ahead.
No, it's just that I see this on cage side seats. People saying, "Well, Braun was already a heel in the way he acted," and I'm like, "Shut up! It's not a matter of the characterization. It hasn't been about character for years in WWE. Mm-hmm. The fans like him. The fans cheer for him. Mm-hmm. You have a dearth of strong baby faces on that roster, and I'm sorry, you build around Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns has his fans. I'm not saying that he moves merchandise, but he's not a strong babyface. When half the audience hates his guts, you have a problem. Braun Strowman is getting cheered. Whether his characterization is a traditional babyface or not is irrelevant. He was getting cheered. So to turn him heel is, number one, a disservice because you're wiping out one of your most organically popular acts. And number two, it's pretty clear why they did it, and they did it for Roman Reigns. And I'm not going to argue the merits of whether they should have or not. It's just you're sacrificing Braun for Roman. You don't want to turn Roman heel, so you turn Braun heel. And that does not instill me with a lot of confidence about Raw moving forward. It just reeks of the status quo. Mm-hmm. So,
I mean, I heard the common rumor and the common argument considering the fact about Braun Strowman turning heel, is because that they turned him heel because they wanted him to lose the Money in the Bank cash in and lose, so that his momentum isn't really affected by that too much.
And that argument sounds like something WWE would do, but that's antithetical. It's going to stunt his momentum. His momentum was stunted Monday, as far as I'm concerned.
With the Monday last week or Monday this week?
Well, this past week with the heel turn. I mean, you could tell. I mean, the crowd reaction was. There was a distinct difference in the crowd reaction between when he first started beating up Roman, or when he let them beat up Roman, I should say, and when he raised Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler's hands. The crowd almost stunned because they recognized that this wasn't just Braun being calculated, this was a heel turn.
Mm-hmm.
And, you turn someone that is organically over as a heel. They screwed the pooch with him from the opening segment when he said he wasn't cashing in. I mean, I thought that was a dumb line that turned Toronto against them, which I guess was the point in hindsight because they were turning him heel at the end of the night. But that whole deal with the Shield reunion, and there was so much curiosity about where they were going, and then the Shield basically had next to no influence on this show until the last 2 minutes. It just I don't know. It's just so creatively bankrupt right now on Raw. It's almost unwatchable at this point.
Okay. What would you say one of the other argument being that they turned Braun Strowman just for the sake of Roman Reigns, in a sense?
Well, I mean, you have to consider the fact, and this is a difficult thing to argue on cage side, so maybe this is a better medium for it.
Yeah. This is more open. You can just tell your opinions without me, because I'm considering everything fine.
It's easier to espouse what you actually mean rather than people trying to read inflection and the type word. And I've had that trouble in the past, but you have to consider Roman Reigns has been so damaged by some of the feuds earlier this year with Brock, and you want Roman to be your top guy. And I'm not going to open up that can of worms. It's too much for one show to cover. But if you want Roman to be a strong champion, then you need Roman to have a strong program right out of the gate. And I think WWE looked at the roster and decided that the best they could do with Roman was Braun Strowman. And with the NFL about to start back up, I think this coming Monday will be the last Monday they run unopposed. Monday Night Football will start a week from this Monday. They wanted to give Roman a strong feud to start with. The idea being, if Roman's going to have a lengthy championship reign, you want to establish him as a fighting champion, as a strong champion. You want to give him strong challengers. And, the heel side on Raw is pretty weak right now. Kevin Owens was pretty much the most versatile heel you had. And Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns have already had a lengthy program in the last 2 years. You don't want to go back there. So you had to turn someone heel.
Yes.
Braun would not have been my first choice.
Yeah, because I know. I mean, like I said, I was just about to go with that, but isn't that kind of like counterintuitive to the fact that not all wrestling stories have to divulge upon a face and a heel?
Well, you're right. They don't have to, and we're seeing that on SmackDown right now with the Becky Lynch, where they've kind of begun course correcting and turning her into more of an anti-hero character.
I know, right?
That is becoming the most fascinating story to watch moving forward because of the way they're tinkering with it.
Yeah, I love it. But go ahead. We'll touch on that later.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Matt sitting here with bated breath, but no, they don't have to, but it's indicative of the kind of creative malaise that's kind of gripped Raw for the last, couple of months, honestly. Yes. They're stuck in the traditional typecast of, strong heel, strong babyface, I guess.
Yeah.
And, like if you really wanted to shake things up, now this is where I was going to go with this when I brought up that Braun wasn't my first suggestion. You're not going to put Roman Reigns against an untried heel on top for his first program. You had to have a strong babyface turn. I don't disagree. I don't disagree with the plan. I disagree with the execution. I would not have done Braun. What I honestly would have done is I would have pivoted off of Finn Balor's performance at SummerSlam, and I would have turned Finn Balor heel.
Oh, okay.
And the reason I say that, and people might think, well, that's stupid logic. He's a strong babyface. But here's the thing with Finn Balor. Finn Balor is a natural heel. His best work in New Japan was as a heel.
Yes.
And we have not seen that side of Finn Balor since he's been in the WWE. He needs a new direction. And honestly, Finn Balor as the Prince Devitt style heel on Raw, that would have been a very fascinating turn. But you don't sacrifice Dean Ambrose, who's just coming back, is obviously one of their most popular acts. You don't sacrifice Seth Rollins, and you don't sacrifice Braun Strowman. Because those three guys are the three most popular wrestlers on the Raw side in terms of organic crowd reaction. And then you've got Finn and Roman somewhere in there. Roman, obviously, with the strong backlash. But you can turn Finn Balor because Finn has no direction. Braun Strowman has been one of your key players all summer, especially with the briefcase. You know, you can turn Finn a lot more readily because Finn wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
And so now you've got Braun Strowman as a heel, which people didn't really want, and Finn Balor is now kind of frozen out of the top of the picture. It's just a waste to me. You're wasting the briefcase on Braun, you're wasting Finn, and you're wasting Roman because Roman is in a bad position where he's going to be the hero in a story with a heel that was the crowd favorite. So it's just unnecessarily putting obstacles to good storytelling here.
Yeah. I mean, okay. That's one. I think that's one way you can create the path, because the other suggestion that I would pull, even though this is out of thin air, out of my ass, I think, I don't really mind the whole him attacking Roman Reigns just because he wants to cash in, and I'm okay with that. I'm perfectly fine with that, because that can be a whole good storyline feud, because the body of work that both Reigns and Strowman had done when they were in a feud together was awesome. That was great. I mean, the opinion on my end, because the problem is that the monster in the bank should not be a heel, because, and number one, and number two, he just because he automatically aligns himself with both Ziggler and McIntyre to combat Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose. Okay, looks fine on paper, but in my eyes, don't if you want to keep to the concept of Braun Strowman as a babyface, I would agree with you that he would pull Finn Balor out, even though you don't turn him face, or you don't turn him heel, and keep him a face and whatnot. I don't really mind that. Pull both Finn Balor or Bobby Lashley if you want, because Bobby Lashley has been doing nothing for the past 3-4 months now, I think. So
yeah.
At least the whole him uniting these two people against Roman Reigns is duly probably mostly because of the fact that both Balor and Lashley has had championship history with Roman Reigns in a sense. Lashley a lot less so, I guess. Balor more so, which has been restarted last week or last 2 weeks, I think. Last week, not last week. So even though both of these guys are actually busy with Baron Corbin, which I'll come to in a bit. But
yeah.
At least it makes sense. It makes sense if we want to go on the path of, okay, let's stick Strowman a face. Don't turn him in a heel. Because we don't want that. We don't want the connotation that okay, a good storyline needs to have a face and a heel. Because it's a lot more complicated to build that kind of thing during 2018, probably. So it's an idea that I can toss out, where you can just use two guys that are stuck in a rut for about several months now. One of them is Finn Balor, the other one is Bobby Lashley, which I think, in my eyes, anyways, makes perfect sense.
Bobby Lashley would have been interesting because Bobby Lashley and Roman Reigns have very good chemistry, and Bobby Lashley proved in TNA that he is a good heel. So that would have been interesting if they wanted the traditional face heel dynamic. That would have been a very fascinating way to go. But here's the problem that they have to confront: whether they go face heel, whether they go face anti-hero face, whatever storyline you come up with. The basic principle that they have to abide by, it needs to be logical.
Yes.
There needs to be a logical progression in the story, because when you have incidents where Braun Strowman goes from the screw you, I'm going to take on 15 guys by myself and smile doing it, to Braun Strowman aligning with help in the span of 1 week. I'm not saying that that character evolution isn't natural. It's just not organic. You have Braun Strowman go 1-on-3 versus the Shield because he's stubborn and he's a monster and he wants to destroy them for attacking him. And over time, you build up to the fact that Braun needs help. He needs backup. You don't do it in the span of 1 week. Now, here's let me lay this out to you, and I want to get your opinion on it, because this is indicative of the logic gap here that I'm talking about.
Okay.
Braun Strowman is going to turn heel. He knows what he's going to do when the match is set up. Okay. He knows that he is going to align himself with Dolph and Drew to take out Roman in this tag match. Okay. Now, if you're Braun Strowman, what happened last week? You tried to cash in, and the Shield came out, and you were outnumbered, and you got powerbombed through a table. You know this week you are turning on Roman, and you're going to beat him down 3-on-1, and you're going to have backup in the form of Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre. If you're Braun Strowman and you know what you're doing, why the hell do you give Baron Corbin the briefcase so you can't cash in? You know perfectly damn well that you're setting up a perfect opportunity to cash in, because you're going to have Roman knocked out and you're going to have backup to take out Seth and Dean and neutralize the Shield. You have the perfect opportunity to cash in, and you obviously don't care about being a man doing it because you're turning heel. You're obviously going to beat down. There's no internal logic in letting Baron Corbin hold on to the briefcase.
That's true.
You know, that's what I'm talking about. It's the internal logic of the story that makes no sense whatsoever. Braun Strowman, by handing Baron Corbin the briefcase, knowing what he's going to do to Roman at the end of the night, makes Braun Strowman the stupidest guy on the roster.
Sounds like it, yeah. But I think in the sense that WWE plans did just that by pulling the trigger and making Braun Strowman look like a fool, is because they know that whatever they do to Braun Strowman doesn't really matter, in the fact that, well, he is popular enough to survive the stupid act, if you want to go that path. I hope not. I hope that's not the whole thing, but I think that's what they think. I think that's what they think about it.
The problem is that probably is what they think, and that is faulty logic. I have watched wrestling for 30 years almost, and you can only turn someone heel at the right time. A bad heel turn can kill a wrestler, and Lex Luger is the perfect example. Lex Luger was, I don't care what anyone says, through 89 and 90 into 91. Lex Luger was one of the hottest acts in WCW, but they had an ill-advised heel turn, and you can only do that once so often. And if you botch it, you have botched it forever. Lex Luger never recovered in his career. He never got back to the level that he was approaching in 1991. And I think Braun Strowman, they're running the same risk here, because Braun Strowman is not Seth Rollins. Braun Strowman is where he is because of his mystique. Once you take that mystique away, Braun Strowman is not the same performer. And this heel turn is taking away that mystique because it's sacrificing what made Braun so popular to begin with. Braun Strowman is no longer the fearless monster. Braun Strowman is now the conniving heel that goes to get help. And that's a big sacrifice to his character that they're doing because they want Roman to have a strong challenger, which, you know, we can argue or, you know, talk about alternatives all day long. The fact of the matter is WWE is riding Roman. He is their horse. That is their selection. That's, for better or worse, that's who they're going with. So, you know, if you don't like it, watch SmackDown, because Raw is the Roman Reigns show for the foreseeable future.
I mean, I can see the logic in that. But again, I have to remind everybody, this is WWE we're talking about.
Vince gonna Vince.
In a way. So, I mean, okay, let's talk about the one that I am just about to talk about in a little bit. Where, like I said earlier on, both Finn Balor and Bobby Lashley are currently busy with Baron Corbin, which, I mean, we're going to go down the path of the authority against the everyman, or against the popular guy, or against the strong guy, and against the face, if you want to go with that. I mean, Corbin did not waste time abusing his power in Raw. Yeah, because he shit his pants when he faced a demon in SummerSlam. So he has to, okay, I have to prove myself that I am the stronger guy. I have to fight Finn Balor. Just Finn Balor, not the demon.
Yeah.
I hope I hope it's temporary. It kind of sort of is refreshing in a way, because yeah, Corbin with the nice haircut, with the whole waistcoat look, he nails it. Even though he has the benefit of the doubt that he has a good amount of tattoos along his arm that he doesn't seem to want to cover up with the long button sleeve of the button shirt, plus the waistcoat and whatnot. He looks sharp in a sense. He kind of sort of does look sharp in a way, but
he looks like the manager of a Denny's.
You know what? He looks better over here. He looks like he's a bartender in one of the bars in Ginza. So
yes, that is Baron the bartender. Okay,
there you go.
Now we're getting somewhere.
No. Don't make WWE make any ideas on recreating Baron Corbin as a bartender in Japan in Ginza, because if that happens, I know who to blame, myself.
You've done open Pandora's box, pal.
No. But like I said, I mean, here's the thing. Finn Balor, it doesn't affect Bobby Lashley that much, because he has the benefit of being more physically impressive, because he looked strong, and he is strong. He proved himself by quick dismantling of both members with the Ascension. So it looked unfair, but the Ascension has been squashed by Bobby Lashley. Finn Balor, however, well, he took Roman Reigns to his limit last week. But that don't mean much if no one sees him as a winner, especially without the demon.
Yeah, and that really kind of feels like the problem with Finn Balor right now. He kind of feels like the plucky baby face that comes up just short, and then he'll pull out the demon paint sporadically, which, you know, I'm glad that he reincorporated it. I like the aspect of the demon. I think they've done a piss poor job with the characterization. They could have done a much better story with him. The demon representing the dark side of Finn that he's trying to suppress because he doesn't like to go there, and then you can tell the story where he succumbs and he becomes that heel that we all know he should be and can be, or at least can be. I think he should be, but Finn he's just kind of riding the treadmill right now, because Baron Corbin as the Constable, while it is a fresher look for Corbin, and this is I think the paradox of this. Baron Corbin has never been more interesting than he is right now as Constable Corbin. He's doing some of his best work. But
I agree.
At the end of the day, this is the $64 million problem here. It's still a heel authority figure, and that will never be fresh. The heel authority figure is, as a trope, a character trope, a storyline trope, is so overused. It's been worn out by WWE over the last 2 decades. You're never going to find a fresh way to make that interesting on a long enough curve. You can have moments where it's good heel heat, like Corbin had the match restarted and he screwed Finn out of the win. On a micro level, yeah, you can do little twists like that, but the heel authority figure story is just so worn out that there's very little you can do with it to make people interested. You really have to have a complete shift in your booking philosophy and get away from the authority figures to get something fresh and new. Otherwise, you're just rehashing the same old story.
I agree. And again, welcome back. We're talking about Constable Corbin. Yes, Constable Corbin.
Oh, God.
Thank you, Buried Alive, for that. Constable Corbin, I have to correct myself.
Constipated Corbin.
But yeah, like I said, Biff, I agree with you on that one because because we're going back to the whole story about the authority angle. The one in power will always it will always oppress the ones without power in a sense. So. I mean, it's a tried and tested story. It's a good story to fall back to. It's just that it affects. I think in a sense it affects Finn Balor more because the guy has been. I feel that the guy has been a good workhorse, a good company man in WWE. It's just that personally, in our eyes, anyways, he can do better.
He can do that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
He has been a workhorse, but he's capable of so much more.
He's a workhorse, but he can do so much more. Proven with the fact that he has done a lot of things on NJPW way back when. So in a sense, it affects him more, I think. But okay. But in any case,
you're talking about Finn Balor there.
Yeah, because
Finn Balor. Yeah, I'm kind of coming in cold here, so
it's okay.
Finn Balor is someone that work rate wise works his ass off.
Yeah, because Taker, let me remind you, last week he took Roman Reigns to the limit when he did an open challenge where he invited Finn Balor to fight him to get his title shot opportunity back on again.
Yeah, because
that
loose end needed to be tied up a long time ago.
Yeah, I know. And then from that loose end, that point of high to facing off Constable Corbin again.
Constipated Corbin.
To facing off against constipated Corbin again.
It's really no different than what Stephanie did the week before with Ronda.
But that is a little bit more that is a little bit more acceptable considering the fact that we know Ronda Rousey is physically impressive. She can actually just show up. She kind of, I made, and that's actually quite wise because considering the fact that I made a comparison that both Finn Balor and Bobby Lashley is having constipation problems, if you want to say.
Sure.
But like I said earlier, Bobby Lashley, he has the benefit of being more physically impressive because he squashed both members of the Ascension. Finn Balor has no fallback. Except for the demon, of course. That's the fallback.
And the problem,
it's kind of the problem is that it's indicative of a stop-start nature of his build-up or his storyline push.
Oh, he's getting too much of a pop. We got to back him off. Got to slow it down. Got to slow it down. Pump the brakes. Pump the brakes. Thank you, Vince. Thanks a lot, Vince.
But okay, I'll do one more point on Raw before we move on to SmackDown. Okay, what are your guys' thoughts on Trish Stratus's return? Because considering that it is Toronto,
well, it was a good place for her to come back. I'm not liking the matchup that's being announced for Evolution. With her with Trish Stratus against Alexa Bliss.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, poor Trish. She is going to have to carry that gnat for 10 to 15 minutes. Okay?
Okay.
I'm sorry. She's going to have to carry that net because she can't do shit. We all know this.
Biff? Any thoughts?
Yeah, let's just address the elephant in the room.
Okay.
Alexa Bliss should not be in the ring. No. Alexa Bliss is a manager that they turned into a wrestler needlessly. And you can have Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss is a star. She gets a big reaction.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably because her ass is trying to escape her pants.
Oh, come on.
I shouldn't have said that. That's sexist. I'm not saying that she's just because she's hot as a firecracker. But let's be honest here. A lot of the attraction to Alexa Bliss is she is hot as hell. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. Sue me, assholes. I don't care. Okay, Alexa Bliss. Oh, shut up, Alexa. Bliss.
I'll agree on that. She is pretty hot.
Alexa Bliss is an attractive, evil, manipulative, good talker, but she cannot wrestle. She was brought up because of her aesthetic beauty and her ability to talk. You know what that used to be called in the days when wrestling made sense? A valet. A sensational Sherry, okay? Alexa Bliss.
Wait a minute. Stop. How dare you, Biff? Sherry Martel could wrestle her ass off. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
You're lying.
I was never a fan of Sherry Martel. Sherry Martel, for her era, was better than most, but that was not a very strong era. There's a reason Sherry Martel is best known as Sensational Queen Sherry. It was not because of her work in 87 and 88. It was because of her valet work from 89 to 93.
I see. Okay.
I just made an immortal enemy out of Taker for life.
No, you haven't. I just... you're wrong.
Okay,
Let me tell you why.
Okay.
Go ahead.
In the immortal words of Stephen A. says, you're wrong. Let me tell you why.
Oh, Jesus. I am not Max Kellerman right now. I'll tell you that right now. I'm not Skip Bayless either. I might be Will Kane, but...
I'll accept Will Kane. But he can still be
Will Kane
by Stephen A. And Stephen A., by the way, this all came about, what was it? During WrestleMania show, MDS?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, WrestleMania.
Was it the Angel called me? Okay, Stephen A. And it's just...
What was your breakfast?
That was it, yeah.
All right.
In any case.
Biff Kensington.
Yeah.
You're wrong, and I'm going to tell you why. You put Sherry Martel in her prime in the ring against, let's say, Trish Stratus. You'll get a solid match.
Is that because of Sherry or because of Trish?
Both. Sherry knew how to work. Look at her.
Wait a minute.
Hold on. You hold on. Now I'm talking. You look in her time in the WWF. She very seldom was in the ring. She didn't wrestle in WWF. She was nothing but a valet for Shawn Michaels and for Macho King, Randy Savage.
Yeah.
Okay. But you look at her AWA stuff. Her and Alundra Blaze put out some hellacious matches. Medusa. Anybody she went in the ring with in the AWA, she worked. You know, it's out there. Go find it. She worked her ass off in the ring when she was a wrestler. I think she had like a pelvis injury of some sort that she couldn't really wrestle anymore.
Okay.
So the only reason her career was changed to a valet is because of the injury. So, you know, Sherry Martel in her time when she was a solid worker.
Mm-hmm.
She would make a face look great, even in defeat.
Well, I need to clarify a point because I think I was I think I was a bit misconstrued in what I was trying to say.
Okay.
Because I agree with you completely. Sherry Martel was a solid worker. She knew how to work. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But the point that I'm trying to make is that, you know, Wayne Ferris knew how to work.
Mm-hmm.
The Honky Tonk Man knew how to work. That doesn't make him a great in-ring competitor. It just means he knows how to work. He can work. He's smart to the business. He knows how to get fans involved in the match. Sherry Martel was a solid worker, and for her era, she was one of the stronger in-ring competitors that they had, both in the AWA and in the WWF. When, you know, for the first 2 years in 87 and 88, she was mostly an in-ring competitor in the women's division when they actually tried to have one.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
The point that I'm trying to bring out is that Sherry Martel had more value to them as a talker than as an in-ring competitor. Now, that was part because they didn't have a strong division, but it was also in part because Sherry Martel's value as a promo made her the perfect candidate to replace Elizabeth as the Macho Man's manager. And when she became a manager, it unlocked an entire new facet of her character that she would ride to much greater fame and success. Now, Sherry Martel in her era was a good wrestler, but the standard of good wrestling in the women's wrestling in the 80s in North America is far different than it would be 20 years later, 30 years later.
I
And
agree.
so I don't want to diminish Sherry Martel, and God bless her, she was great. I love Sensational Sherry.
Yeah.
I don't want to make it out like I'm insulting her or calling her a bad wrestler because she wasn't. I'm just saying.
No, of course
That's
not.
the way it sounded.
Standard-
That's why I came at you like I did.
No. I'm not. No, she was. I mean, she's one of the best female personalities in wrestling history. Okay, I mean, we're talking about one of the all-time greats. I don't want to diminish what she did. I'm just saying the standard of in-ring work, the baseline, is so much higher now than it used to be that I don't want to conflate Sherry's in-ring work on the same level that I would look at an Asuka or a Becky Lynch or a Sasha Banks today. The level, and this is not all on Sherry either. This is an industry-wide phenomenon where the quality, the baseline has elevated so high. If Sherry Martel had come around today, Sherry Martel would have to do so much more than you had to do in the 80s, and that's what I'm trying to get at. Sherry Martel was a good, solid worker, but where Sherry Martel became a legend was in her promo ability, and I was tying that into the Alexa Bliss character. Alexa Bliss could be one of the biggest stars in the company without ever having to step foot inside the ring as the competitor. There is a mechanism in professional wrestling storytelling where you can be a star without having to be an in-ring worker. And they're doing a disservice to Alexa Bliss by sticking her in positions that she doesn't deserve or needs to be in. When there is a template, like with a Sherry Martel, or a woman, a Nancy Sullivan / Benoit, there are archetypes where you could make Alexa Bliss a huge star without having to make her pretend to be a wrestler that's afraid to take a bump. And that's all I was trying to say.
Because that is one thing that is wrong with Alexa Bliss. She's afraid to take bumps.
Yeah, she can't work. I'm sorry. She's only on the main roster because she's a good talker and she looks like $1 million. It's the same reason Mandy Rose is up. You can't look at Mandy Rose on SmackDown and say she was brought up because she's a good worker.
No.
She's the most uncoordinated worker in the entire company, and that's the company that has Titus O'Neil in it.
Yeah, and the thing about it is that it's got Titus O'Neil and Dana Brooke.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, Buried Alive in the chat brought up another perfect example, Zelina Vega. Zelina Vega is another perfect example. She is going to be a massive star, and it's not because she's wrestling mixed tag matches. It's because she can talk. You talk them into the building. That's a lost art form in professional wrestling. Alexa Bliss can talk you into the building, but Alexa Bliss cannot you cannot deliver on the promise. She's like talking up a restaurant. She's talking it up like she's a filet mignon, and then when it comes time to actually get your meal, she is a half-heated up double quarter pounder from McDonald's. Okay, there's a dichotomy between talking them into the building and delivering.
Yes.
Let Alexa talk people into the building, but have a stronger worker there to deliver the meal.
Right. Yep. And the rumors are abounding that at Hell in a Cell, they're going to want the match to go longer than 5 minutes.
Jesus H. Christ.
Okay. Then
No.
What?
No.
I'm just going to ask a question because I'm quickly moving this along. Okay. If this was the plan all along to bring, say, Trish Stratus to WWE Raw just to kind of sort of set up Trish Stratus versus Alexa Bliss for Evolution, shouldn't that be the focus rather than Alicia Fox facing off against Natalya and Trish Stratus just shooing away Mickie James and Alexa Bliss? Shouldn't that be the focus if they wanted so desperately to set it up like that?
I mean,
Then shouldn't it be Trish Stratus in one ring, Alexa Bliss on the other ring, promo cut.
Trish will promo circles around Alexa Bliss. She always could.
I know, but
you're not going to start that until after Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, I think the problem is you've got not just one show, you've got 2 shows to get through before you get to Evolution, because you got the Australia show too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, don't forget that. Yeah.
Oh, speaking of complete irrelevant segue, but I just felt like throwing this up. I'm actually going to the Monday Night Raw after the Evolution pay-per-view.
So, okay.
Yeah, they're going to be in Charlotte the very night after, so I'm going to have a full report for you that week.
So you're going
to be live.
I got comped tickets to Raw because the WrestleMania tickets were so shitty. WWE sending us free tickets to Raw in Charlotte the night after Evolution. So,
wow.
Yeah. Assuming I'm not back in the hospital, if I'm physically able to go, I've got free tickets. So
that's cool.
Just wanted to throw that out there.
Awesome. That's awesome. I like it.
That's how the BIFF do.
Okay.
And an unrelated segue too. My boss at work tried to make me upset the other night.
Oh,
it was funny. It was funny. It was a weak attempt.
Okay. Well, what did he do?
He says, "I got some good news and I got some bad news for you." I go, "Okay, what is it?"
Mm-hmm.
He goes, "Good news, WWE's coming back to town." I go, "Yeah," and he goes, "I go, okay, what's the bad news? Sometime next year." And I'm like, "Okay, am I supposed to cry now or what?" I didn't go to the last show because the tickets were ridiculously priced. I think I rained on his parade. And then I proceeded to tell him what I'm up to with WWE and Mania in New Jersey, because I have a stepdaughter who lives over on Long Island.
I know.
So
take that, you poser.
Take that, you poser.
That's what I told him, and he's like, "You need." I said, "Yeah, we're going to be trying." And what I'm trying for is that I want to get some interviews with residents. Do you need a sound guy or a cameraman? I said, "Nope, got that covered."
If the sound guy and cameraman, if the sound guy can actually come to New Jersey when he has enough funding to go there.
But I told him, "Nope, got that covered." And he should have seen his face just sink.
Just drop.
It did.
Oh, he's a fan, but he doesn't want to admit that he's a fan.
Oh, he's a fan.
He just doesn't want to admit.
He's listened to this show and he's listened to Connoisseurs as well.
Ooh.
And
okay.
He's a fan.
Sexy.
So if he's listening,
poser.
Hi, boss.
You poser.
I hosed him worse than he had tried to hose me. I mean, his face just fell when I said, I've got everybody I need right now. I said I'll need a week off during that time.
Oh, that's just sad. He just wanted to. He just wanted to join in. Oh.
No soup for you.
No soup for you. No special wonton soup for you.
No more spare rib. You eat vegetables.
Away with you, fondue fountain.
I mean, I agree on all fronts on what you guys are saying, because if this was meant to be kind of like how they wanted to portray Trish, just put your focus on Evolution. Just put the promo starting off on Evolution, make that first, and then get on with Hell in a Cell second, and then probably just slip in Trish Stratus, kind of like showing up or doing something and whatnot. At least that would have been a better way to use her, in a sense, I would say. But sometimes sometimes WWE just.
I'm just worried about shenanigans going on at Hell in a Cell in the women's, Raw women's title match.
Yep.
Because Mickie James and Alicia Fox are going to come out.
Number one, yeah,
that's a given.
Yep.
And why does Alexa Bliss need 2 people? because she's a wimp. She's a gnat.
She needs the 82nd Airborne to have any realistic shot in this. So
I know, but like I said, they're talking. There's rumor out there that they're wanting Ronda to sell more. Why sell for that net? She can't even punch her. I mean, granted, Ronda's punches look terrible. She still punches better than Shane does.
Okay.
that lemur punches better than Shane does.
That lemur. What? Oh.
But we all know what Ronda can do. If she was actually turned loose and told to break Alexa's arm, even though she has the hyperextensive joints, Ronda would break her arm. Ronda could break her arm, regardless. She played the game. Oh, you want to hyperextend? Fine, snap, and she's snapping right off.
It's just a credibility problem. Alexa Bliss is not a credible challenger for someone as dominant and as athletic as Ronda Rousey.
Ronda Rousey will be able, if they try to go speed, Ronda Rousey will run circles around her.
Well, Ronda Rousey is so dominant over anyone on that roster right now. I don't know who you have faced her up against that has a realistic shot.
Well, like I said a couple of weeks back or last week, Ronda got the best match ever out of Nia at Mania or at
I would probably disagree slightly. I think she got the second best match. I still prefer the match with Bayley in London a couple of years ago, but
okay.
That's very
that was
main roster, yes.
On the main roster, the match between Nia and Ronda on the main roster. That's what I was talking about.
Okay,
that was Nia's best match.
Yeah, I'd agree.
On the main roster, period.
I'd agree.
Because there was someone that actually was credible. A credible threat to Nia in Ronda.
Okay.
You know, the whole talking shit before the armbar was put in place was stupid. But that's WWE for you. They had to put the belt back on Lynette. I call her Lynette.
I'm going to tell you something. I brought this up on Kate's side, and it's on the same subject of Ronda, which this is why I bring it up, and I'd like to get y'all's opinion on it if we could. Now, Ronda, once she steamrolls Alexa, because we know that's going to happen.
She's going to wind up winning, yes.
If Alexa Bliss beats Ronda Rousey, burn the whole freaking thing down, basically. So Ronda's going to beat Alexa Bliss at Hell in a Cell. But so you need someone after Alexa Bliss. Now, I don't know what's going on with Nia Jax, if she's hurt, if she's just being held out. I don't know that I would go back to Nia Jax immediately because there's almost a sense of been there, done that. And Ronda kind of, proved her dominance over Nia, so you lose a little bit of that physical challenge aspect. If you are not doing the 4 horsewomen versus 4 horsewomen storyline immediately, which it doesn't look like they're going to with Becky and Charlotte tearing at each other on SmackDown. What about Shayna Baszler swerving people and coming up as a heel against Ronda Rousey?
No.
No, wait a minute.
Okay.
Now, are you objecting to this because you don't like Shayna as a character / worker, or are you objecting because you don't like the idea of turning Shayna and Ronda against each other?
That's not it at all. What is one of the weakest things on SmackDown right now? They do not have a top heel. Do they?
In the women's division, you mean?
In the women's division. They do not have a top heel. Carmella, no.
Well, they do now. It's Charlotte Flair. They just didn't mean to. It wasn't an intentional.
You bring Shayna up as a heel and put her on SmackDown. And she slots right into your number 1 heel slot.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but that's, plus she's got the chops. Remember who trained her.
I know who trained her, and that's why
she's...
Well, she also had legit training from Billy Robinson, which is, good too. But Let me tell you what. Let me tell you why I disagree with that. Why do you need a top heel when you have Charlotte and Becky Lynch going to be dominating the picture for the next 4 or 5 months? Where is Shayna more valuable? As a heel, just kind of messing around on SmackDown while they do their thing, or on Raw, where Ronda Rousey has no one credible to face?
I see your point, but I just don't see it happening that way.
Well, the reason that I would put Shayna on Raw is because I have another idea for a woman to come up on SmackDown and be the top heel you're talking about.
Oh,
that's
okay.
Nikki Cross.
Nikki Cross.
Nikki Cross on SmackDown has a
white chocolate cheesecake.
Hey,
the white chocolate cheesecake of sports entertainment.
Nikki Cross is my spirit animal. You watch it, bub.
Well,
Nikki Cross on SmackDown versus Charlotte and Asuka and Becky Lynch. That to me seems like such a strong plan that you can put Shayna Baszler on Raw. For this reason also, we all agree Shayna Baszler has a lot of potential. But Shayna Baszler is also much greener comparatively to a Nikki Cross. Shayna Baszler does not have as much in-ring experience. So if you put Shayna Baszler on Raw...
Excuse me?
Shayna Baszler has only been in the professional wrestling business for 2 or 3 years. Nikki Cross has been in for like 7.
Yeah.
I'm saying Shayna Baszler has a world of potential, but you want to maximize that potential without having her stay for another 2 years in NXT to get accustomed to the WWE system.
She don't have the time.
She don't have the time. So what I'm saying is put Shayna Baszler with someone that she already knows in Ronda Rousey, who she's already comfortable with. They can draw on their shared experience in MMA, and they already have chemistry because they're friends and they're used to being together. And so you put Shayna in the best possible position to succeed right off the bat. And I think the best.
Why do you want? All right. The question I have for you is this, Biff. Why are you hot shotting Shayna now towards the title? That's gonna if you bring Shayna Baszler up to Raw and you put her in a feud right away with Ronda. You watch cage side. You think cage side melted down when Ronda won the title off of Alexa Bliss? It'll melt down even more if Shayna takes the title from Ronda.
I can answer that in one simple sentence. Shayna will never be a champion on the main roster. Shayna Baszler is not going to be a top wrestler on the main roster. Shayna Baszler is a number 2. She's going to be the Arn Anderson to Ronda Rousey's Ric Flair. That answers that right there.
Wow.
And she shouldn't be. Shayna Baszler should not be the top act. She should be the Arn Anderson. Why? Because the women's division needs that level of nuanced characters to become a fully fleshed out division. What is the big problem with women's wrestling right now?
They're all
and you have nothing underneath.
They're all a bunch of whiny bitches.
Yeah, there's no middle ground. You're either a total scrub like Dana Brooke, or you're a Sasha Banks who's a transcendent generational talent that's just wasted because they got fuck all for her to do, pardon my language. You know, you need tiers. Shayna Baszler is going to be the perfect sleazy henchwoman. She's going to be Ronda's right-hand woman when they do the eventual horsewomen turn.
Yeah, but I'm telling you right now, the WWE horsewomen will probably be the heels in this feud.
Well, they're going to be the heels in the sense WWE wants them to be booed. The fans are going to cheer them because, you know, WWE can't find their way out of a paper bag.
They'll only be cheering them because of Becky alone.
Okay.
Well, they'll be cheering them because they're the WWE women and the MMA women are the invaders and they're getting handed everything. And I'm not saying that's how it actually will be. I'm just telling you how the fans are going to react because, you know,
I mean, people were up in arms that Ronda got a shot. You know, got her shot against Nia. And, you know, why did Ronda challenge? I said, Ronda didn't. People kept saying, why did Ronda challenge? No, Nia challenged her.
Well, I would hope that after SummerSlam, we can now put to bed the notion that Ronda Rousey is a part-timer. She is full-bore on the roster. She is going to be working programs. So we need to put aside the notion that people have.
The notion, the reason that's out there, Biff, it's very simple. She's not having matches on Raw every week.
She freaking shouldn't be.
She doesn't need to.
Calm down, guys.
She's running that 17,700-mile run right now, wrestling Alexa Bliss every night. If you don't believe me, check K-Side. Believe you me, I still read articles there. And it's there. She's already working. They're already trying out new things for the match at Hell in a Cell on the house show circuit between Alexa and Ronda. They're already doing it. So for anyone to say, and I've said this more than once, for anyone to say that Ronda is part-time, yeah, she's had, 4 TV matches in 8 months. So what? So what? How many matches did Braun have in 3 years on TV? 0. None. The only time whenever he came out was for the big 4 pay-per-views, and not even for all of those. So people, that is one of the reasons why I took a break from certain threads on K-Side, is because I can't deal with it no more.
Well, we know the truth. We know the truth. We know where the wisdom lies. We know what they're doing, and you know what I think WWE gets a lot of flack for all of the crap they mismanage, and there is a metric, ton of mismanagement in this company.
Agreed.
But in the case of Ronda Rousey, they should be given credit because they have done an exceptionally good job at bringing Ronda along. And and the proof is in the pudding. Ronda Rousey still gets huge reactions. They haven't ruined her.
And she gets polls.
Yeah. So I mean, they have done an excellent job with Ronda. She's right where she needs to be.
And she moves merch.
Yeah, she's doing exactly what they want her to do, which is be a star.
Yep.
Ronda Rousey is a star, and they need that star power on Raw because it sure as hell ain't coming from the men right
now. Okay, considering the fact that you guys did actually touch on Becky Lynch a little bit, I'll poke the proverbial molehill a little bit more.
You mean the fire ant hill?
Yeah, the fire ant hill a little bit more, because I'm gonna make a very apt comparison. Yeah, I'm going to make a very apt comparison about the whole thing, because earlier on I did say that Biff and I actually said that there's a difference between Roman Reigns' position and Becky Lynch's position, in a sense, or Braun Strowman's position and Becky Lynch's position, considering the fact that both of them are turned heel, in a sense. But to me, I think Becky Lynch is kind of like in the complete opposite, where it somewhat didn't work for Braun Strowman. It kind of worked. Should I say kind of work, or should I say it 100% worked for Becky Lynch?
Let's put it this way, and I think this is the best way to do it. They turned Becky Lynch at SummerSlam. They changed her character alignment.
Yeah.
And it worked, but for the wrong reason. Like, Becky Lynch has never been hotter as an act than she is right now. The problem is they weren't intending for her to become the female Stone Cold Steve Austin. They wanted her to become the top heel.
Oh, you did? Did you hear the whole Austin calling her Stone Cold Becky Lynch or something?
Yeah, Steve Austin was talking about Becky Lynch on his podcast. Everybody has been talking about it. That's what I'm saying. WWE did a amazing job. They backed into something great. They weren't intending to create the biggest freaking babyface in the damn company by turning Becky Lynch into an anti-hero, but sometimes happy accidents happen, and Taker knows this full well, because Taker and I were in agreement all summer when this was to poor Metal Matt's internal consternation. I was on the turn Becky heel train long ago. Okay, I was back in June at Money in the Bank. I was saying Becky Lynch needs to turn heel. Okay, because
I was saying it since what, Royal Rumble?
At least, yeah. And for the same reason is that SmackDown had no top heel worth a damn.
Yeah.
And so if you're not turning Asuka, you need to turn somebody because, Charlotte Flair, you need to give her a chance to grow as a babyface. It's too soon to turn her back heel. Becky Lynch has been doing nothing. You turn Becky Lynch heel, you have a great worker that can carry matches, that can, get people invested. That's the way to go. Now, I said that in June with the intention that WWE knew how to turn someone freaking heel. They didn't do that. They made Becky into the sympathetic babyface all the way up to SummerSlam and put Charlotte Flair in a no-win situation the way they had her come back. And so they turn Becky, quote, air quotes here, heel, and she gets the loudest freaking ovation in the Barclays Center for turning heel on Charlotte. And so while I was on the turn Becky heel train, you ruined that, and you can't unring a bell. So now you have to do the best you can with what you've got. Now, what you've got is freaking lightning in a bottle, because Becky Lynch is now the talk of the wrestling world, and she's the hottest babyface in the freaking company from a heel turn, because, WWE going to WWE.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing you don't do, okay, if you're Vince McMahon, the two things, you don't make her a full heel now, because the crowd won't buy it. You've lost that opportunity. But you also don't turn her back into the babyface she was, because that'll kill her just as readily as a full heel turn will.
Yep.
She is now the anti-hero. You made that bed, okay? For better or worse, you made that bed, and you made her the biggest freaking, act in the company right now. Ride that train. You ride it till that mother conductor goes into the freaking ground, okay? But you ride that train to success, because Becky Lynch will never be as hot as an act as she is right now.
Yeah. I mean, I'll go with this, though, because I think all the three of us have agreed that us as fans have watched Becky Lynch battle her way from downward obscurity back into the title picture for almost 2 years now, probably close to 2 years.
Yeah.
And despite all attempts by WWE Creative currently to kind of toss her in as a jealous and vindictive heel, it doesn't work, because we actually know her reasoning for being that way, and we buy into the reasons for being that way, to her reasons for being that aggressive, that forceful, that assertive, because we want to see Becky Lynch succeed.
Well,
and her hard work paid off in grand fashion. But I agree on you on the other point as well, because in this way, it creates a difficult situation for the booking and for the company as a whole. Do you sit back, allow the positive chance for Lynch to continue? At the same time, because you just crowned Charlotte as your champion, you sacrifice the champion, and division centerpiece is heat, kind of, sort of? Or do you just evolve Becky Lynch to become the anti-hero of sorts?
Well, she's already tied Trish Stratus.
True.
Okay, so
okay,
sure. Take the belt off of Charlotte at Hell in a Cell. Let Becky have it. You know what's going to happen at Evolution.
What, 4 horsewoman versus Fox?
No. It's going to go back on Charlotte, break the record. 8-time women's champion. Yeah, come on, people. Don't you see the writing on the wall? Becky Lynch is not going to have the long run with the title. They'll come up with some reason or another to have her job out.
Oh, the reason is simple. WWE has a plan, and just because the fans aren't keeping to the script, don't mean they're not going to follow through with their plan. Charlotte Flair is not going to look weak at all, because you want Charlotte Flair strong for when she wrestles Ronda Rousey next year. And that's the problem with WWE in a nutshell. They have their plan, but the fans are not going to go along with it because the fans have a new hero. That's what happened at SummerSlam. They didn't just cheer for Becky Lynch because of the character. That was Becky Lynch, the performer. There's 2 levels here. There's the character, which people felt was justified, but there's also Becky Lynch, the performer, that people respect. And now Becky Lynch is a freaking lightning rod of heat. She's sitting here, she's lighting Reddit and the wrestling web on fire with her promos. Which, by the way, some of the best promo work of her career. I said breast. Sorry, Freudian slip there. Best promo work. I like Becky Lynch. I'm sorry, sue me. Okay?
I do too. I do too. Don't
But
worry.
I'm saying that her promo work over the last 2 weeks has been incredible. And her social media game, which she's always had a strong social media game, but in the goofy pun kind of way, now she's turned into a freaking goddess. Okay, I'm sitting here with a half chub reading some of these promos. My God, the wrestling greatness coming from this woman right now is amazing. She's talking about humbling Charlotte Flair in the Iron Sheik stance. I'm getting a chub.
And the Iron Sheik is all on it.
Well, yeah, the Iron Sheik is old and horny, so we know that.
But DA brought up something very, very true. It's something I've been saying for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte is going to break Dad's record of 16-time champion. It ain't going to be John Cena. It's going to be Charlotte. I've been saying that since Charlotte came up and won the title the very first time. I said it, I don't know how many times on the threads on Kate's site. And people are like, oh, no, that ain't going to happen. Ain't going to happen. Well, she's at 7 now, folks.
In
the next 3 years, do you think she can get 10 more? Sure, she can.
Well, she's gotten 7 and 3, so logic would suggest the next 3 she could have at least 14.
Logic would dictate, and she's still 32. She can go up until 40, probably.
Well,
and people are the favorite argument for people wanting Charlotte to be a heel is, well, her dad's a heel. That's like saying, because Dale Earnhardt Sr. was a heel racer, Dale Earnhardt Jr. should be the same heel racer as Dad was. No.
Well, I want to bring up something, and I want to get your opinion because I know your thoughts on the Charlotte subject as a heel, because we've talked in the past with me here about Charlotte and the faulty logic behind what you're talking about. The Charlotte has to be a heel because Ric Flair was a big heel.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you, but I also think that in the current climate, because of what they did with Charlotte and Becky Lynch leading into SummerSlam and the result of that, unfortunately, we are approaching a point where to save Charlotte as a character, she may have to go back heel. And I'll say that for this reason. If Charlotte comes out on top of the feud with Becky Lynch, as we all think she will,
of course,
they are in a huge problem with the crowd because Becky Lynch has become a cause. The crowd is going to live and die with Becky Lynch. And when Charlotte wins out in the end, now Charlotte has become Roman Reigns. The crowd will never forgive her.
So basically, I hate to cut you off. So basically, we are going to fall back on the whole Steve Austin, the rise of Steve Austin, the rise of Stone Cold Steve Austin, but now it's the rise of Stone Cold Becky Lynch.
You have to. You have to. You can't. In a perfect world, this is what would happen. Becky Lynch would destroy Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair tries to come back at Evolution and fails. And Becky Lynch proves that she can get it done and becomes the anti-hero / huge babyface with the crowd. Charlotte Flair pivots off of that into a storyline where she questions herself and her ability to get it done. You get Charlotte the hell away from SmackDown because Becky Lynch needs to be able to run free. You bring Nikki Cross or Shayna Baszler or somebody up and let Becky Lynch be the ass-kicking Terminator against the big monster heel, and you can print money and wipe your ass with $20 bills. Charlotte, get her to Raw and have Charlotte not as a heel, but as the broken baby face that's trying to prove to herself that she is not broken, that she can still do this. And you build up to Charlotte Flair winning the Rumble and challenging Ronda and trying to prove that she is still the queen, that she can still get it done. That's how you save Charlotte in all of this.
Okay.
I think we delved into fantasy bit. fantasy booking on that one, but
Yeah,
I kind of like it. I love it.
and I got one major flaw I'm going to point out. You said Biff, she wins the Women's Rumble in January, challenges Ronda Rousey for the title in April at Mania. What you didn't say, and I want you to put it out there. Who wins that match? Charlotte Ronda. Who wins that match?
No, are you asking who should win it or who I think will win it?
Who you think will win it?
Charlotte.
That's why does Charlotte need another goddamn shine up? She already took one. She already got one from Asuka. She don't need any more shining up.
Then what? Then my question is, how would you put Charlotte into a position where she has to fight for the Raw Women's title?
She doesn't need a title.
Other than the fact that she's outside of everything. She can be properly positioned to be the number one contender at any point of time, considering her pedigree. Outside of her given pedigree,
she could be the number one contender, but she's got to, she can't always go in. Yeah, she's going to probably lose at either Hell in a Cell or Evolution to Becky. We already know this because if that WWE is smart, which we know WWE isn't that smart. They don't have sense and they don't use logic.
I'm not convinced Charlotte is losing to Becky Lynch, to be honest.
I know.
I think she should, but I don't think she will.
Because Vince is going to shit all over the crowd like he did. He's going to run Becky Lynch into the ground. And, yes, you're going to get this match, and the rumors are going to come out that Becky's scheduled to win, and it's going to be the goddamn Roman Reigns treatment all over again.
We were joking when you went to pick up LL that Vince saw the reaction to Becky's heel turn and said, "Screw you, fans! I'm doubling down and turned on heel." We were joking about that when you were going.
Ronda versus Charlotte. Charlotte is even not a credible threat to Ronda. There's, she's genetically superior to my ass.
But that's what WWE, that's the story WWE's telling.
Yeah. So, I mean, why does Ronda, why would Ronda have to do the job for Charlotte? Please, no. God, no, please. No. Just no.
Get on that train. Get on the toot train now, pal, because you know it's coming.
Yeah. It's going to come.
I'm gonna. You know what I think is actually going to happen? What my official prediction is? I know I've got a mixed track record with predictions.
Go ahead.
If I had to predict right now what they're going to do, it's not going to be wrestling for any championship. I think Ronda and Charlotte will be their respective brands champions, and they will face each other title versus title at WrestleMania. I think that's going to be the story.
Okay. What you're saying is a unification match.
I think it'll whether it's a unification match or not, that's going to depend entirely on how they work out the TV deal next year. Because next year they're going to be heading into the new SmackDown on Fox in the fall. So if they wrap up the brand split before that, because they can't do the brand split with two different networks involved, that's just, the mechanics of that are going to be bad for the ratings. So I think the brand split ends next year. If they're ending it early enough, then it could be a unification match. If not, it might just be a champion versus champion challenge, kind of like they did with AJ and Brock at Survivor Series last year. But the allure of Charlotte and Ronda, who they are 1A and 1B in terms of who the women that have been presented the best are. Whether we want Charlotte in that position, Charlotte is considered the best of the horsewomen from WWE. She's considered one of the best female wrestlers of all time. Whether you agree with it or not,
I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it.
But that's the story they're telling. So
I know, and I've never agreed with that story.
Okay, Biff, keep on going.
You guys know this. You've heard me say I don't agree with it. That story is bullshit. Shit. I can't even think.
Formulate words.
I can't formulate the words right now because I'm so wound up.
Well, let me say this, and I think I can speak for you in this because we are generally in agreement on a lot when it comes to Charlotte and what's going on with WWE.
Okay.
There's a difference in what we think will happen and what we want to happen.
Mhm.
Yeah, like I could sit here in fantasy book all day what I want to happen.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
I
That's
want to say that Becky Lynch is going to have, just an all-time classic next year defending the championship against Asuka or Nikki Cross or whoever. We can come up with storylines to the end of time.
Mhm.
But, there's a difference between fantasy booking what we want and what we know is coming. And we know the end game here is Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey, for better or worse.
Mhm.
So the goal at this point, whether we like it or not, is to try and figure out the best possible way to get to the destination, because you know the destination ahead of time. You know where you have to go. So make it the best possible story you can,
Mhm.
understanding that a bologna sandwich is still a bologna sandwich. There's only so many ways you can dress it up. So
What's wrong with bologna sandwiches? I like them.
there's nothing wrong with bologna sandwich, but I don't
Nope.
go to a 5-star restaurant for a bologna sandwich. WrestleMania, you want the filet mignon, okay?
Oh yeah.
You see what I'm
Delicious.
saying? Like, a bologna sandwich is great for a Tuesday afternoon when you're hungry. But if I'm taking out, a date, trying to impress a date, I want the 5-course, 5-star meal.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
she doesn't need to know that my cooking expertise extends to spam. I want to have
That's good stuff, man.
Hey, don't knock it. Spam comes with its own.
I'm not knocking it. What I say is true. Spam is good stuff.
I like spam.
So do I.
I would not use spam if I'm trying to impress a lady.
No.
So that's what I'm saying. WrestleMania should be your 5-course meal, your filet mignon.
Yeah, 2 half-inch thick slices of spam on some bread with some mustard or something like that. Oh my God,
that's a perfect meal for Hell in a Cell. You go do your bologna blowout at Hell in a Cell, but have a damn steak on the grill for WrestleMania.
You guys are already talking about food. Good on you guys.
Anyway,
I'm happy to be eating solid food again. Okay, I'm just saying.
Oh, I'm not dishing up against you on that one because
before we go any further, I want to say I'm glad you're back. I've missed you.
Thank you,
missed you on Connoisseurs. It's not been the same. It just hasn't. The dynamic is not there.
Aww.
I appreciate that. Honest to God, I thought for a second you were about to drop the other shoe. Like, I missed you. I'm glad you're back, but you're an asshole.
No, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that to you in public. I'd do that to you in private.
Oh, okay. So I got that to look forward to.
Afterwards.
The way it was set up, it felt like there was going to be a butt coming there, but I am glad to be back. I'm thankful to be alive and kicking and able to be here and hang out with y'all.
You kicked out at 2 3/4. That's good for you. You did the Ric Flair.
Much like Ric Flair, I am the dirtiest player in the game.
You channeled your Ric Flair and kicked out.
I get death. I low blow death in the balls and said, "Not today, pal."
Yeah, not today, pal.
The cock of the walk has some more strutting to do. Woo!
Yeah. There you go.
There you go. Woo! Indeed.
Shall we move on? Because I'm
okay. I think we're done. I think we're about done with the whole thing. I think we can move on to the last order of business. You guys are about to talk about college football, am I right?
Yes.
College and NFL, whatever you want to talk about.
The college game, because we got 2 big SEC marks here.
Okay.
Are y'all wanting to talk any about All In tonight, the big independent show in Chicago? Because that's
I'll touch on that a little bit quickly. I'll touch on that a little bit. Do you want to touch on All In a little bit, or do you want to? Okay, let's talk about.
All I know is we got Nick Aldis versus Cody Rhodes for the NWA title.
Oh no, it has a lot more now. Now that we know of now.
It's gonna be on New Japan World after the show too. So
yeah, because I am going to watch it afterwards. Because I have New Japan World. Never mind. But in any case, anyways. I mean, let's let's end on a high note with the college football. We'll touch on how to say it. We'll touch on All In now. I think if we want, correct?
Sure, go ahead.
Yes.
I'll just
Okay.
sit back a minute.
Okay.
I don't know
You
much
can
about
collect. Okay, you can collect your formulative thoughts on. You can start collecting your formulative thoughts on the college football.
it.
Just make prepare with what you do. So there's that.
Think about how you're going to tell Adam Reich's sports teams suck, and we'll be back. In a
Yeah.
second.
Adam, you're not going to want to hear what I had to say about Urban Meyer. I've been saving this.
Okay. The most that we know, other than the fact that the American Nightmare himself, Cody Rhodes, is gonna face off against the NWA champion Nick Aldis. There are some other cards that they're tossing in. One of them, among them of the sets were Chelsea Green versus Britt Baker versus Madison Rain versus Steph Blanchard. That's one. And then you have the Fallen Angel versus the Green Arrow. That means Christopher Daniels is facing off against Stephen Amell. And you have the villain Marty Scroll versus the Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada.
That's going to be a great match.
Should be.
Wait a minute. The Green Arrow, or is it the Green Lantern?
The
Steve?
Green Arrow.
Green Arrow.
Okay, I don't know. So forgive
Okay.
me.
No worries.
I'll be quiet.
Okay, Biff. You're the one who's looking forward on this one a little bit more, right? Rather than me. I'm just going in on a very blind note because
there's I mean, the entire card looks interesting, but there's one match in particular that I am very much looking forward to, and we're probably about to get to that right now. You know exactly what match it is, I think. So,
I know, but I'll cede the floor to you to reveal it to the folks.
that's a very convenient way to say you don't know. I saw what you did right there. That's fine.
How do you know I don't know? Because I already told you.
Because if you knew, you would have said it. You wouldn't have deflected.
Because you're already giving it to them. Just give it
Please,
to them already.
please, MDS, enlighten the crowd. What match am I talking about?
Oh, please go ahead. I just gave you the floor. You damn it.
Children.
Let's be completely honest here. The best wrestler in the world right now is Kenny Omega.
True.
And he is wrestling a favorite of Taker. I know
Pentagon
this for a
Jr.
fact.
Yes,
Pentagon Jr.
Mm-hmm.
That match is going to be hot freaking fire. That could be a 7-star match if Dave Meltzer is taking his Viagra tonight. There's a visual for you, Uncle Dave with the stiffy. Yeah, that's the sound Dave Meltzer is going to be making tonight during this match.
Thank you so much for the image. I am going to puke.
Kenny Omega and Pentagon Jr., that match is definitely going to be probably the best match on the card. I think that the Aldis Cody Rhodes match is going to be good. I don't think it's going to be great. I'm not a huge fan of either guy as an in-ring worker. I do think that Nick Aldis retains. I think it's bad optics for Cody Rhodes to book himself to win in his own show. So I don't think Nick Aldis drops the title now. I think that Cody could win the title in the future.
Yeah. If he decides to go off, to NWA or something like that,
right? I mean, there could be a partnership with Ring of Honor. I think that Billy Corgan has done an amazing job bringing the NWA back to somewhat of relevance.
They did, surprisingly.
Kazuchika Okada and Marty Scurll. That's going to be a fantastic match. I think Okada takes that.
How about the 6-man tag though? Bandito, Rey Fenix, Rey Mysterio, Ibushi, Young Bucks.
Well, has Kota Ibushi actually made it to Chicago? I know he was kind of lost for a little while there.
He was kind of lost, but yeah. I don't understand why Kota Ibushi suddenly gets lost in the United States when he already has worked in the United States for about a couple of times already. So
because Kota Ibushi has enough brain power to keep his abs ripped, and that's about it.
Or let Kenny Omega lick the abs of Kota Ibushi in a sense, which will make all the fans of the Golden Lovers scream in unison and faint all at the same time. But
well, I just felt the
I
Kenny Omega
digress.
licking the sweat off of Kota Ibushi. Yeah, there's nothing sexual about that at all.
I mean, I'll say this on a more serious note, though. Kenny and Omega and Pentagon match had a lot of potential. Has a lot of potential.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the folks aren't the hugest Pentagon fan because of what is going on with him in say Impact in a sense, but it's huge potential. The Impact Wrestling champ, the Impact champion versus the NJPW champ. Let's go with it. Let's get on with it. Yeah, go.
It's just a great pairing in terms of providing for an amazing match. And the 6-man with Mysterio, Phoenix, and Bandito
Yeah,
against the Golden League.
That is like the how to say the a love fest for spot monkey lovers out there. So
There's definitely going to be some energetic, high-flying, flippy shit.
high flying flippy shit that people are love. And then you have I forgot all about this one, the 15-match over budget battle royale.
You know what? You know who I think actually comes out of that? I think Neville's going to be a surprise entrant. Win that, we're going to get Jay Lethal and Neville. Or
I mean, I agree. I can agree with that because they want to figure out who fights Jay Lethal on that. When they left, they actually conveniently left 5 slots open. So that means you have 10 confirmed guys and 5 people who you don't know coming in. So
yeah. Maybe. I mean, that would be a good way because it's going to be on WGN, and you want people to buy the pay-per-view that don't already have New Japan World.
You want to dangle the carrot even more. You add 5 other carrots down there. So
well, it's not as sexy a carrot as Kenny Omega licking sweat off of Kota Ibushi. That's a nice carrot. It's a nice carrot.
You can carve the carrot to make it resemble like a Kota Ibushi's abs, though.
You could also pretend it's something else.
Never. Of course. And then you have Joey Janela versus Hangman Page.
You can't jump to Joey Janela when you left off Kota Ibushi's carrot.
I can, and I did.
Yeah, but I'm gonna yo-yo right back.
Okay, yo-yo back again.
I just did. Kota Ibushi's carrot, you call it his abs? What the hell? Kota Ibushi's carrot is Kota Ibushi's carrot. The sweet nectar of life. Who the hell cares about Joey Janela? You got Kenny Omega licking sweat off Kota Ibushi. Angel somewhere just got a chub. He doesn't know why.
The vapors.
Got the vapors. Just went full Blanche Devereaux in here. So.
I'll say Joey Janela might die versus Hangman Page, but the nonsense they're gonna cook up is gonna be awesome. Hopefully.
Taker's just sitting back like, what the hell happened to my show?
I'm just being
okay.
And from licking man sweat off of Kota Ibushi's godlike abs to college football now.
Well, we haven't finished yet. The only nitpick that I can find is that for those of the listeners or those of the viewers who are going to go watch All In and not know a lot about watching Being the Elite and whatnot, you're gonna be left out feeling, what the heck am I going into? I'm just watching a wrestling show with no rhyme or reason.
No, I'll tell you what's going to piss people off is when Kenny Omega doesn't lick sweat off Kota Ibushi. They're going to be like, false advertising, NDS.
I just read something interesting. Today's rumor roundup.
About Kota Ibushi's sweat?
No.
Oh, it's not that interesting.
4th rumor down.
Okay.
Young Bucks and Kota Ibushi versus Rey Mysterio and Phoenix and Bandito is scheduled for the main event to go on last at All In, per the Observer.
Oh wow. Okay.
You know what?
I'll just have to wait and see then.
I'm surprised if that's the case. You would think
Aldis versus
Cody, but the thing about it, Cody's the promoter, and I think he's smart enough to say, no.
You know what I think they're doing it that way for? I think that he's taking a page out of his father's playbook from like 1991, 1992, when WCW would have the world title matches, and then they would have like a tag match to close out the shows.
Yeah, and you don't put yourself in the main event.
Right. I think that's what he's doing.
I think he's wise enough to know. I think Cody's wise enough to know that.
Yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
I just thought I'd throw that in there for you.
Yeah, it's a good it's a good thing to run, but yeah, it is something to be mindful about.
Yeah, and especially, when you look at the card, and there's a lot of talent on the card. I don't know that it's talent that, outside of a few names, that's going to really draw in the casual fans. The hardcore wrestling fans are going to love it. What they really need to focus on is figuring out a way to get Kenny Omega in a position where he can lick the sweat off of Kota Ibushi.
Not going to happen.
Look, you want the most wasted potential of all of the match? Marty Scurll versus Kazuchika Okada.
I know, because there's no sweat
wasted
licking.
Sweat licking. I point out that the day before the G1 finals, Kazu Okada sweat like a pig.
Yeah, but he dyed his hair red, so it doesn't look as sexy. Oh, well, you know what? I kid you not. There's 2 butterflies that are humping outside my window right now. It's symbolic of the man love between Kota and Kenny that we're dreaming about right now.
And
they're golden. They're golden butterflies too. So it's a sign from God. It's meant to be.
Oh God, help me!
Hey, you screwed the pooch here, pal. You're the one that brought up licking sweat off of Kota Ibushi. I blame you.
I don't see it happening, so get that thought out of your head. Don't be disappointed if it don't.
Well, of course it's not going to happen. I mean, it's going to happen in my dream tonight.
I mean, okay, let's put it like this. And I'm going to say this, and this is going to be the end of that topic, Biff.
Yes.
Or I should say Will Kane.
Okay.
I don't think Will Kane wants to see Kota Ibushi sweaty, getting licked.
Right. The United States audience is not as receptive to something like that as the Japanese audience would be. Am I? If I'm lying, I'm dying.
We'll see. We'll see how.
Do you understand it? This is nothing against anybody that is of alternative sexuality. I have no problems with that. It's just that the majority of people are closet phobes when it comes to stuff like that, and it won't work here. Something like that would not work here.
It would work on me.
I know. Like I said, I would accept it. I wouldn't have a problem with it. I would understand it, but the majority of the people here in the United States are just not with that, and it's sad. It's a sad thing, and yeah.
I don't think it's sad that sweat licking hasn't called on. That's kind of gross. But I see what you're saying about the larger narrative of why Kenny Omega would lick sweat.
Right, but you get the fact of it happening would be. I mean, people would lose their. I mean, there would be. You want to see Twitter meltdown? That would do it.
It would be like, damn, Kenny, are you that dehydrated? Do you need the fluid that much?
No, it would be more. It would be more disgusting than that. But
I know.
We move on.
I was trying to be like a glass half full kind of guy.
Okay, I'll put this on a very, very fast, very, very quick note on all the predictions because I have it. I just don't want to go because we're cutting off time, so I'm gonna say this fast. Nick Aldis versus Cody Rhodes. This is gonna be a surprise. I'm thinking Cody Rhodes winning. Don't know the reason why. This is just me shooting from the hip. So even though I have my notes, I'm not going to touch on it. The IWGP Heavyweight Champion will battle Panagon Jr. Kenny Omega wins, obviously. No surprise there. The whole 6-man tag, Young Bucks and Kota Ibushi win. That put that image of licking again in your head though.
Oh, it was already there, pal.
Okay, good. Four-way women's match. Tessa Blanchard winning. Oh, I don't know. I have a very real hope that Chelsea Green wins the match, but
That's who I want to win. But
yeah, I hope Chelsea Green wins, but somehow, in my darkest hearts of hearts, Tessa Blanchard is gonna win this one, and of course, Squirrel versus Okada. Okada is gonna win. How? Because let me just put it in a very very blunt note for the villain himself. How can a C plus player defeat an A plus player in Okada? Even though he can say that only he can stop the rain because he has an umbrella.
I think Marty
And-
Scurll is more than a C plus player personally, but he's a
If
solid
he
B.
is more than a C plus player, he could have been positioned more higher up on the tier of Bullet Club. But
Okay, if we're talking like talent level, he's better than a C plus player. If we're talking about where
Okay.
his placement is, then yeah, I'd say he's not exactly a household name necessarily.
I'm not denying the skill and the ability that Steve
Okay,
that
gotcha.
Marty Scurll has.
Gotcha. Okay.
And this is gonna be the biggest fucking surprise that you are gonna tell to me.
Oh Lord.
You know, remember Christopher Daniels and Stephen Amell?
Yeah.
You're not gonna like who I say is gonna win.
I know who you're thinking. Stephen Amell.
Yep.
I actually prefer that. I hate
Oh.
Christopher Daniels. I hate Christopher Daniels.
Oh.
Christopher Daniels is the most overrated wrestler of the last 20 years.
Oh.
I'm completely BSing. I have no opinion on that either way. I'm just trying to ignite
How
some
dare you, man?
fanboy rage out there.
How dare you?
Yeah.
Okay. The college de football, or as it was said in the water, the college football.
Yeah, college football.
AKA the make fun of Adam Rice segment. I am so looking
And
forward
this
to
is the segment where I sit back and just enjoy.
Oh yeah, baby! Woo! I'm stretching. Hang on. I gotta
Oh,
get limber for this.
You got to get the vapors first before you get limber.
I had the vapors from Coda and Kenny. I gotta purge those vapors now and talk some.
Get out from the idea. Get out from the idea right now. Okay.
Okay.
College football.
Anyway,
1, 2, 3.
Shift from one head to another. So
okay.
Mhm.
College football officially kicks off tonight.
Yes.
Although
Yes.
we've had games this week already. The big
Yeah.
kickoff is today.
yeah, Purdue's already taken their first loss, so all is right with the world.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Sorry, Matt, DSM. Sorry that they lost, but
I'm not sorry.
I'm hey,
Okay. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Keep on going.
but we got what? I don't even. I have some opinions first on the Big Ten, mainly Ohio State,
Ooh.
and the sham of investigation that the board of trustees and the 6 members of the board and the 6 outside individuals that were supposed to investigate whether or not Urban Meyer should be terminated for cause because he hired a known domestic abuser. Hell yes, Urban Meyer should have been fired. If it was anybody else, hell, I've said this before, if it was Nick Saban, everybody would be calling for his head. If it was the general, I can't think of it. I'm trying Bergeron down in Louisiana State. Everybody want his head. It's because it's the Big Ten and he's got a 900 winning percentage. So what? How many national championships has he won? 0, folks, with Ohio State. The thing is this. The boosters got involved in the background talking money. We all know this. Ohio State boosters are some of the most crooked boosters out there. I wouldn't be surprised if they weren't paying the players under the table somehow and not being caught. That's just, it has been known. It's happened before with Ohio State. That's why they were put on probation many years ago. It's no different. The only reason Urban Meyer protected Zach Smith, is because he was Earl Bruce's grandson, and that's Urban Meyer's hero. That's Urban Meyer's idol. His own athletic director at Ohio State said and advised Urban Meyer, do not hire this man. We don't need the controversy. I mean, the Big Ten has had controversy after controversy. We had the Jerry Sandusky thing 6 years ago with Penn State, which cost Joe Paterno his job and basically his life, because that's what that man lived for, was Penn State football. And then you had just last year, you had finally the whole thing with Larry Nassar in Michigan State. And now this. Big Ten's got problems, people. Urban Meyer is a cancer to that conference. His ability to recruit top recruits now is going to be hamstrung. Because what parents in their right mind is going to let their son go play football for a man who supports a known domestic abuser? I sure as hell, if I had a son that was going to college, wanting to go to college, I wouldn't even let Urban Meyer in the front door of my house.
Well, let's be unequivocal here. The only reason Urban Meyer still has a job is because he's brought a championship to Ohio State.
When?
So, in 2014.
I beg your pardon. That's right.
Yeah. So that's the only reason Urban Meyer still has a job. If he hadn't brought a national championship to Ohio State, he would have probably been gone. That's the only thing that probably saved his job. And it probably only saved his job temporarily because, like you said, I think he's pretty much ruined Ohio State as a recruiting destination for at least the next couple of years.
He's got no credibility.
Yeah.
He's got no credibility. His credibility is destroyed.
He should have come out from the start and got ahead of it and acknowledged what had happened. That would
and the funny thing too is that there were text messages on his cell phone, records that amazingly disappeared. There was no text messages in his records that were over a year old. Somebody deleted them for him. He knew about it because it was brought to his attention that it could be done. Whether or not he approved it, we don't know. Then he's using his excuse about some medication for something, when he had the brain surgery, he can't remember things. That doesn't matter. That's an excuse. There are no excuses. The buck stops with you, Urban. The buck stops with you. Just like it did with Joe Paterno. The buck stopped with him over Jerry Sandusky. The buck stops with you over Zach Smith. For the rest of your life, Zach Smith and his whole incident is going to be stapled to every resume or every job application that you upload if you're let go from Ohio State to every other college. You will never coach in Division I football again once you're let go from Ohio State, because nobody can trust you. You can't be trusted, and that is something that parents look at. I mean, I would rather send my son to go play go to ASU, Arizona State, or to Alabama for that matter. Those are two colleges where coaches I could trust. Nick Saban would have been way ahead of it, and he wouldn't have hired Zach Smith in the first place. We both know that, Biff.
Oh yeah, yeah. It is. Yeah, I mean, I joke about Ohio State and Adam, and I think I hope that people understand that it's just a gag that Adam and I are pretty good friends, and I'd like to give him guff. He gives me guff about Alabama, which I find kind of amusing, because we're Alabama and we're defending national champions and all that. But
yeah, we know.
I don't wish this kind of ill will on anyone, especially my friends. And it is a shame that a program as god-awful as Ohio State has a very real stain upon it like this. That's also a joke, people. Ohio State's a very well-known program nationally. It's a shame that those fans have to be put into this position to try and defend their coach when he's not really defendable. And the only thing you can hope is that, eventually justice, karma, whatever, fate will take care of the problem and they will be able to figure out a way to move on from it. Quite frankly, I think it's endemic of the hypocrisy endemic to the NCAA and football in general. if Urban Meyer keeps winning games, then eventually this is going to blow over. Whether it should or not, that's a different story. But it's unfortunate that Ohio State has been put in this position to have to deal with this, especially with all of the other scandals that have broken in the college ranks over the last few years.
No kidding. That's across all sports.
Yeah, it's been a rough couple of years for controversy in sports. So
yeah, with the basketball and the shoe deals and the money being paid to players, and yeah,
I feel bad for Ohio State fans. And especially in 2018 when the world it feels like it's going to hell in a handbasket. You want the distraction of football and to have a very serious and real world issue thrown back at you in the form of the coaching scandal here and the abuse that went on. It's just, it's unfortunate that they have to deal with that. So I do feel for Ohio State fans.
I do too,
to some degree.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not painting the Ohio State fans with that brush.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, it's not their fault at all. The Ohio State fans have been very reasonable during this whole deal. They have not been blindly following, Urban Meyer around. There's actually been calls for his dismissal, and they have
from the fans, which
I
applaud.
And that's
and it harkens back to another coach that they had that created a major controversy of himself in a bowl game.
Jim Tressel?
No, Woody Hayes.
Oh, Woody Hayes, yeah.
Woody Hayes, I think that was the Orange Bowl, was it?
Mm-hmm.
That he punched a player from the opposing team.
Ow.
Was it? No, I think it was the Gator Bowl, wasn't it?
It was a bowl game, that much I know.
Yeah, it was the Gator Bowl.
And he punched a player from the opposing team because they were losing.
Yeah, Clemson. What's his
Clemson
name? Charlie Ballman. Charlie Ballman. He punched Charlie Ballman from Clemson.
Uh-huh.
Clemson was killing him. And he got mad. Woody Hayes got mad. He was forced into retirement after that.
Ooh, interesting.
And then the thing about it is that, thank you for reminding me. A member of the trustees, a board of trustees, resigned over the punishment handed down.
Yeah.
Saying it wasn't strong enough. A 3-game suspension is not strong enough. It's not harsh enough.
He probably, in a perfect world, he probably should have been suspended for the season. If not,
I agree.
Fired.
I agree. It's a season suspension, and he's already, and according to the way the suspension reads, the way the suspension is effective today, he can be associated with the team again. No. You're suspended. You can't be anywhere near the team until your suspension is up. That's how it applies to players. It should apply to coaches the same way.
Well, I think that too. We have to bring this up for the people that may think, well, he's not the one that committed the crime, so why is he doing the proverbial time? And you have to understand something. It's not just that he lied about what he knew and covering up and hiring the guy to begin with. Mm-hmm. He is a representative of the college. He is one of the public faces of the college. You have to understand the reality of college football. For better or worse, college football drives so much of academia because college football brings in the money. There's a reason that schools like Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson, you name it, there's a reason they pump so many millions of dollars into their football program because it generates revenue that filters down through the rest of the school. The head football coach of a major university like an Ohio State has a responsibility, a legitimate responsibility to represent his institution because he is one of the public faces. I guarantee you, nobody in the general America knows who the president of the Ohio State University is, but I guarantee you people know who their football coach is.
Exactly.
You know,
Same thing.
I don't know who the president of the University of Alabama is, but I damn sure know Nick Saban is head coach.
We don't know who the president of LSU is, but we know that Bergeron is the head coach. At Arizona State University, we don't know who the president is, but we know that Herm Edwards is a coach.
Yeah. So the football coach is a public
that
representative.
That is something.
That is
Herm Edwards, 66 years old, going back onto the field as a head coach.
You play to win the game.
Yeah, you play to win the game. Hello.
Yes. Yes.
Well, do you want to go through? Do you want to go through these conferences and pick out who we think wins the big conferences, or is there any other?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Let's
go ahead.
Let's put who you. Yeah, let's put who wins and who.
Well, with all due respect to the fans of the American Athletic Conference, I feel like we can skip over that and just go to the big conferences. Let's
go to the Power 5 conferences mainly. Let's go to the Power 5s.
Why don't we start with the Atlantic Coast Conference? I think that this is Clemson's year to win. I think the only other team in the ACC that could give them a run for their money would be Miami. And I don't really trust Miami. Nothing against Mark Richt. I think he's a phenomenal individual as a human being. But, Clemson is probably the second best team in the country. That number 2 ranking is well earned.
Yes, it is.
I think Clemson is a walkover to win in the Atlantic. I think they'll either play Miami or I'm going to shock you maybe and go Virginia. I think Virginia is a lot better than people think they will be.
Mm-hmm. Virginia is a sleeper. I've been looking at their roster. It's strong.
It is strong. I think they're not ranked right now, which is I think is going to help them. They're going to kind of fly under the radar in the ACC Coastal Division, but
yep, and they're gonna. And when the time comes, they're gonna shock the world.
I think we're gonna get Clemson and Virginia in Charlotte in December. I think Clemson wins in the ACC, and because the ACC in general is going to be weaker than I think a lot of people believe, I do believe Clemson will be one of the playoff teams come January.
Okay. I agree with most of that, but I see Virginia stealing the win from Clemson.
Wow.
Okay.
Hey man, if they figure out to play together instead of trying to be a bunch of individuals, which they suffered through last year, a lot of those people, a lot of those players are gone. The seniors are gone now. The individualists. I don't think they have that big a class of seniors this year, so you got a lot of returning juniors and sophomores, and they played together as a team. They might surprise. Surprise everybody in the ACC and steal it by maybe 3 points in the championship for the ACC.
If Virginia upsets Clemson, because it would be an upset, I think, unless Clemson just completely falls into the tank, that might be the biggest upsets in college football since Boise State and Oklahoma.
Well, the thing about it is this: Clemson has not had many injuries. They're on borrowed time. A lot of their main guys have not been hurt. And now, it could happen because these teams are going to be coming out and, playing that much harder, hitting that much harder. And it's going to wear on them. And, if they have injuries to key personnel on Clemson, they're in trouble because they don't have the depth that, say, Alabama has.
Mm-hmm.
I think the one benefit for Clemson in that regard is they have a particularly weak schedule this year.
Yes, they do.
I was looking at their schedule. The only game of note right now, unless somebody just comes out of nowhere, would be October 27th when they go to Tallahassee and play Florida State. No. I stand corrected. November 24th, they are hosting South Carolina, which we'll get to the SEC in a little bit. I think South Carolina is going to give them a run for their money. That's the season finale. But outside of Florida State, there ain't nothing really of concern on their docket. So I think Clemson, they're going to have a easy time against Furman. They're up 27-0 right now in the second. And I don't expect much from Texas A&M next week. So once they get past A&M, it's pretty clear sailing until October 27th.
Excuse me.
So that might help with the injury front. They're not going to be challenged all that much. And they have one of the best defensive lines in college football still. So we'll see if that defense chews up. But I'm with you on Virginia going to the ACC championship game. I don't know they're going to have the firepower to stand up to Clemson, but wow, that would be something else if they could sneak into the playoffs and get in that way. So we'll see what happens. I think it's more likely if Virginia does win the ACC championship that they probably will not make the Final Four because I don't think Virginia is going to reel off 11 or 12 wins here.
No.
They've got to go to Virginia Tech late in the season. That's going to be a tough one. They also got to host Miami. And I think they have, who else do they have? Georgia Tech. They got to go to Georgia Tech also late in the year. So that could be another challenging game depending on how Georgia Tech's season winds up. So it's a little bit more difficult for Virginia, I think. But if they surprise people, that could be a very interesting ACC championship game.
Yes. Now the SEC.
I don't have to struggle very difficult on this one. I can't take it against Alabama.
I can't either. Alabama ranked number 1, preseason number 1. Why shouldn't they be?
I've got Alabama going 11-1 and beating South Carolina in the SEC championship. South Carolina is my sleeper in the SEC East. I don't think Georgia is as good as people think they will be. No. I think Georgia will take a step back. Then South Carolina has the benefit of getting Georgia early, which I think is much better for South Carolina getting that game done early. Their next big game would come in the final week of the regular season when they play in Clemson, which I think is a loss for South Carolina, but I do think they'll be competitive. I think South Carolina goes 10-2 and beats Georgia and represents the SEC East, but I don't see anybody knocking Alabama off. I think Alabama goes 11-1. I'll give them one loss to Mississippi State or LSU. No, I'm sorry, LSU. I have them losing in Death Valley at LSU as their one loss, but I still have Alabama winning the West. And then winning the SEC
LSU
title.
has struggled in defeating Alabama since they lost the national championship game to them.
That's the one reason I view that as kind of a trap game. If they were playing in Tuscaloosa, I would have Alabama is winning that game. Yeah. I think playing in Death Valley, I don't expect LSU to be in contention for a playoff spot. But
the thing too is that Bergeron's job is probably on the line this year.
Yeah, I think it reeks of a trap game to me. Honestly, it feels like a trap game, and I don't think it's one of those deals where I don't know that Alabama is going to go 12-0. They could. They have the talent to do it. I thought they were going to go 12-0 last year, and the Barners, kind of caught up to us. But
but we still won it all at the end.
Yeah, I mean, we did it. I mean, we proved that we deserved that playoff spot because we won the national title. And, in Nick Saban's entire tenure, he's never lost back-to-back games against Auburn. And we're in Tuscaloosa this year for the Iron Bowl. So,
yeah, right now that's become a homer series if you look at it.
It really has, yeah.
It has. The home team wins the game.
So I think that we get revenge on Auburn. I don't think we lose to Mississippi State. And
no, I think we go into Mississippi State and throttle them this year.
LSU is the only game that I'm concerned about losing.
Right, me too.
So, but if we can get past that, I think Alabama is going to be a clear playoff favorite, barring some catastrophic injury. Barring the unforeseen.
Well, I mean, who both you and I agree that Tua should have been named a starter, but what other coach in all of college football, Division 1, 2, 3, whatever you want to call it, how many coaches would kill to have the problem that Nick Saban has? He's got 2 aces as quarterbacks, and they're both young.
Yeah, we're not talking about an LSU scenario here where you have two quarterbacks that are mediocre and you're trying to figure out who you're going to sacrifice to the lamb, lion to the lamb there.
No,
You got Jalen Hurts, who's lost a grand total of 2 games in his entire career, versus
Tua Tagovailoa that who came out in the second half of the national championship game and lit Georgia up like a Christmas tree and won in overtime.
Uh-huh.
And the thing about it is that the way he did it, and when he threw that touchdown pass, he never looked over there until just before he threw the ball.
He is the first true passing threat Alabama has had in a long time.
I would say the first true passing threat that Alabama's had since Joe Willie Namath.
Oof.
Okay.
That's a long time ago, but it's true. He can kill. Tua can kill you on the long ball.
He's got a frozen rope. I mean, that guy, he's got so much arm strength. It's beautiful to watch him in the pocket because he makes those freshman mistakes. He made a few in the national championship game, but
he overcame them. That's the thing. He made the mistakes. He knew what he did wrong. He overcame it. He did not let it control him. He controlled it.
Right. Jalen Hurts is a playmaker with his feet. Tua is a playmaker just flat out. And that makes him so exciting to watch.
I mean, Tua did the pro quarterback move. He did not tip his hand as to where the ball was going until the last second, and the receiver was 4 yards ahead of him already. The defensive player had given up because he thought he was looking inside because Tua was looking that way, but out of the corner of his eye, he saw that mismatch and threw it on a rope, and that was the end of it.
My uncle who passed away a few months after, he was so upset. He was a huge Georgia fan. I think I told the story on here. I was taking an Alabama trinket to put in his coffin, and
you were denied.
I was denied. So,
that's bad.
It was. We bonded through college football. It was part of the joke. I'm going to miss having conversations with him during the games. But be that as it may, I do hope, for the sake of Georgia fans, because they are long-suffering fans, that Georgia manages to be competitive. I don't think they're going to be the number 3 team in the country when all is said and done.
No,
I just don't see it right now. But I do expect Georgia to be competitive in the SEC East this year and in the years to come. But I really like South Carolina. I like what Muschamp is doing in Columbia. He's really turned that program around. They won 9 games last year. Look like they've got a pretty good team coming back, and I think they're going to shock some people, especially with Florida being down right now and Georgia kind of a question mark as to whether they can sustain their success losing so much on the offensive side of the ball. South Carolina's got a real shot to win in the East, but I don't think anybody's knocking Alabama off the pedestal anytime soon.
The thing about it is, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, Nick Saban never rebuilds. He just reloads.
Oh, God, it's so glorious.
Am I right or wrong, Biff?
I mean, you're talking about one of the greatest college football coaches of all time. So,
and when he left LSU to go to where? To Miami to play for the coach of Dolphins?
Yeah.
They had a chance to hire him back, but they were so angry, they said, screw you, so he went to the competition. And that game at Death Valley is one that's circled in red on his calendar.
Yep.
He always has some kind of trick that he'll put into play, put in the game plan. Some trick play that burns their ass every time.
Suck at LSU.
That's right. I mean, in the national championship game, I'll never forget it. They came out in the run package. First play. They came out in a run package and threw a goddamn pass. LSU was caught flat-footed. And they were on their heels the rest of the night because they did not know what was coming next. And there was a running joke. There was a joke, and Biff, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. After that football game, Biff, LSU had trouble getting home that night. You know why?
Why?
You know why, Biff?
Go ahead and tell me.
Somebody painted a 50-yard line on the highway. They crossed the 50-yard line one time, and they were knocked back to their own 20. They did not cross midfield the entire night in that game.
I was watching that game. It was decidedly a butt whipping of the first order.
Well, true. Granted, the funny thing about it is that Saban had what 5-6 weeks to prepare. You don't give Saban that much time.
No,
he will pick you apart.
No, the only time you're going to catch Saban off guard is when they're in a game where things just don't matter. Like we got stuck with Choklahoma a couple of years ago in the Consolation Bowl, and he just kind of said, "Screw it," and that was that. But when the pressure is on, Nick Saban is the best.
Nick Saban is an evil genius.
Yeah, he's the Bill Belichick of college football.
He is. That is the greatest comparison you could have. He is the Bill Belichick of college football.
And he practices the dark arts too, probably. So
yes, he does. On to the Big 12.
Oh, okay. How many do we have left now?
There'll be 2 more conferences after this.
Well, you got the Big 12, the Big 10, and the Pac-12. So
yeah.
Okay, but go ahead quickly.
Yeah, it's getting late.
So Big 12, you said?
Yes, Big 12.
Big 12.
I got to be honest with you. I'm going to pick a school here to win the Big 12, not out of any educated guess, but just out of heart's desire. I mentioned this at Capeside yesterday. I really hope that West Virginia can take this conference. I cannot stand Oklahoma. They're one of the programs I hate the most in college football.
What about Nebraska?
The
Huskers are due. They've been irrelevant for so many years now.
Well, I would say that they could win the Big 12 if they were in the Big 12, but unfortunately they're in the Big 10. So
that's right. You're right. My mistake.
Yeah. So
my bad. I forgot. I thought they were in the Big 12, and then
I think they moved. Yeah. But West Virginia and I think TCU maybe. I really don't think TCU is going to be a factor long term.
The toughest teams in the Big 12 are Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, and the Longhorns. They're the 3 top teams in that conference.
And when Texas is one of your toughest 3 teams, your conference pretty much sucks these days.
Yeah, it does. That's a weak. The Big 12 is weak.
Big 12 has fallen off a lot.
Yep. Well, there's been so much coaching turnover in that conference too.
There was that. Well, I think what happened too is there was a stretch there where the Big 12 was loaded up with a lot of ascending programs. Baylor had a run there where they were relevant, and TCU got relevant for a little while, and Texas,
a couple years.
Yeah, Texas Tech and Kansas State had a little run there for a few years, but now it's kind of settled back down, and I think they've got 4 teams in the top 25 right now. I think West Virginia is at 17. Because Texas is at 23, and then Oklahoma's at number 7, and then TCU. I would like for West Virginia to win the Big 12, just as a personal thing. I like West Virginia. I've always liked that area. I like Marshall.
The Mountaineers.
I like the Mountaineers. I would love for them to win. I'm hoping it's West Virginia. I don't like Oklahoma. It would not surprise me if Choklahoma does make it in.
Yeah,
but
oh God, Choklahoma.
I'm hoping for West Virginia. So.
Okay.
All right. Let's do the Big 10 real quick.
This is going to be a tough one. Big 10 might be the deepest conference in the country.
Yeah, it is. It's very deep. Penn State had a solid run last year, coming off of their conference championship.
Yeah, I mean they're a top 10 team in the country. So
Michigan under Harbaugh, they got to get their heads out of their asses.
I don't know what the hell to expect from Michigan. I'm shocked they're as high as they are right now, to be honest with you. But
Michigan State, I don't know if they're going to be able to get out from under the fog of the Nasser problem. I think that's hurting them in recruiting.
you know who I think is going to surprise some people this year in the East? Maryland. I think Maryland is going to rally around the team.
Yeah.
After the tragedy, I think Maryland, I'm not saying Maryland's going to win the East, but I think Maryland is going to have a decent year. They're going to surprise some people. Might put some people on upset alerts. Ohio State, obviously, Urban Meyer, that scandal, I don't think it's going to affect their performance all that much with him only being gone for 3 games. I mean, they're handling their business today, so.
Yeah, but they're playing a very weak team, too.
Well, yeah, it's part of the laughable nature of the punishment. He's missing the cupcakes, and he'll be back for the big games, obviously.
Right, but the thing about it, there's one sleeper team, and I agree with Legends Lover on it. There's one sleeper team in the Big Ten. Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, yes.
Wisconsin is the sleeper. They went to the championship. They went to the Big Ten Conference Championship last year against Ohio State, and yes, they lost. And that was, I believe, their only loss of the year. I believe they only lost once.
I think you're right. I can't verify that 100%, but I think you're right on that. But I agree with you completely. I think Wisconsin has a very strong case.
They're the strongest team in the Big Ten West.
They're the only team in the Big Ten West that has any realistic shot of making the conference championship game. Yeah. There's just nobody else in the West that's on that level.
And they have a lot of the kids returning this year, so they already know how to lose the big one. They got that experience. Tell me this. Look at 2015. Okay.
I'm looking at 2015. Okay.
The Chicago Cubs made it to the National League Championship Series and lost. What happened the following year?
World Series, baby.
That's right. They went and won the whole damn thing. Why? Because they learned how to lose. They weren't expected. They were not expected to even be there.
I think the basic learning curve of sports at any kind of sports is that if you want to learn how to win, you must learn how to lose first.
Exactly. You got to learn how to play in the moment, basically. Which, that's another way of saying what Taker's saying. The Cubs, they had to learn as a team to rise to the occasion, and when they failed to do it against the Mets, they took that experience with them the next year. They were able to beat the Dodgers. So
I mean, they went on. They basically went on to destroy the entire league that year.
Uh-huh.
Had the best record in baseball. Basically walked through the playoffs going into the World Series and win 7 games and extra innings at that to win the World Series.
And they've got a very real shot of repeating as National League champions this year as well. The National League is pretty down right now. So the Cubs are getting hot at just the right time.
Yes, they are. Although they've lost 2 straight.
Well, that's true. They look. I enjoyed the game in Atlanta, but but that's neither here nor there. We can talk baseball later on.
We can. I can say this. I'm going to say here's my pick for the Big Ten championship game, and I know my wife's going to love this. I'm saying Michigan, the Wolverines, versus the Badgers. Badgers take it.
Oh, okay.
Michigan is going to sneak up and bite Ohio State in the ass this year. That's been their Achilles heel all year, every year.
Okay, you.
I'm trying to think if I agree with him or not, because I agree Wisconsin will be representing the West. I'm going to vary a little bit, and
Okay.
I'm going to. This is probably the hottest take that I will have, because originally, and I figure we'll probably do our playoff predictions after the conferences before we wrap up. But
Yeah.
I originally was going to predict 2 teams to come out of the Big Ten
Mhm.
Ooh,
in the Final Four of the playoffs.
ooh. Interesting.
Now I'm altering that.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to
Okay.
say there's 1 team coming out, and here's why. Wisconsin is going to win the West, but Wisconsin has to play both Michigan and Penn State on the road.
Ooh.
They go to Ann Arbor and then they go to Happy Valley.
Mhm.
They're not winning both of those games. So
They might
Wisconsin,
lose in Ann Arbor.
they could lose in Ann Arbor. They could lose at Penn State. Penn State's a
don't-
great team.
Yeah, but Penn State, now that Saquon Barkley's gone,
Well, their defense is what gets me, I think. I like Penn State's defense more than I do their offense.
yeah.
With Barkley gone now. Here's the thing with Wisconsin. Wisconsin has to beat Iowa. They go to Iowa on September 22nd. Iowa is a trap game for them because they've got home at Nebraska and then Michigan. So the Iowa and the Nebraska games are going to be crucial for Wisconsin. If Wisconsin can escape the regular season with 1 loss, then we might still get 2 teams out of the Big Ten. I'm going Wisconsin versus Penn State, and I have Penn State surprising people. They win, and they go to the playoffs for the first time.
Wow.
Mhm.
I say Penn State wins the conference outright against Wisconsin.
What are you talking about? Michigan? You talking about the Wolverines? Legends over was 11-1 last year. She just made a comment in there and said somebody about being 11-1. I'm not sure who she's talking about.
Ohio
mentioned-
is the only.
Yeah, Ohio State was the only loss they had.
Mm.
I think that was Wisconsin.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, they lost to. Yeah, they were 11-1. Right, that was it.
No. Ohio State lost to Oklahoma. They got
Ohio-
blown out. They got blown out in Columbus by Oklahoma because Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield planting a flag on. Yeah.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield dunked on them, and that's what cost them their playoff spot last year. So
And Adam never got over that. He said what Baker Mayfield done was classless and childish. I said, and
Adam was a little salty. Yeah,
he was. We love you, Adam.
Love you, buddy.
Is he
Okay.
there, or is he saying something off
No,
air?
we're saying that now. He's not in the chat, so we're just saying in case he, comes at. Well, he can't come at me because I don't go in the nightly or the daily, so he'll be going at Biff, not me.
Then anyway,
But
okay.
anyway,
What
Pac-12.
next? Ooh. Okay.
The Pac-12 is officially the who gives a shit conference. There ain't nobody coming out of the Pac-12 worth a damn, except maybe Washington.
Yeah, but I don't see Washington making the Final Four. They're not strong enough.
Well, no, but I mean,
and what I see happening is that there's always I'm kind of excited for what Arizona State's going to do. New head coach and Herm Edwards. He's running that football team like a pro football team. You ain't got it in the if you didn't have it in practice in preseason, spring football and now with all the practice and stuff. His concept was, I'm going to cut you. You ain't playing. You'll keep your scholarship, but you ain't playing. You ain't suiting up. You ain't doing nothing.
the problem I have with Arizona State, and I agree with you that they're going to be an interesting team. The thing with Arizona State, they've got a 7-week stretch where it is just murder.
Oh, I know.
Oh,
They got
man.
one of the toughest schedules in Division I.
Yeah, listen to this Murderers Row. They've got Michigan State, number 11 team in the country, coming to play them. They have to go to San Diego State after, which that is what it is. But then you get number 6 Washington in Washington. Oregon State, they always play them tough. Then they have to go to Colorado. And now they get in back-to-back weeks number 13 Stanford and number 15 USC. And then they close out the regular season on the road at Oregon and at Arizona. So it is not an easy road for Arizona State.
No.
If
But,
they're
you
in
know,
contention, then Herm Edwards done a hell of a job.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. Don't you think for 1 second? We all know the head coaches have a lot of pull and a lot of sway as to what is scheduled.
Oh, it was deliberately scheduled that way for sure.
And Herm Edwards made sure it was. Why? He wants to make his boys work. He wants to find out exactly what he has, what they'll do under pressure, what they'll do in adverse situations. And believe me, Herm Edwards is his famous line, "You play to win the game." And that's he's going to preach that.
Mhm.
He is going to preach that to his kids. He calls them his kids, and they are his kids.
Uh-huh.
I mean, Biff, if you had a son old enough to play college ball, and you had Herm Edwards coming into your house to meet with your son and you and your wife, hypothetically, hit you and his mother, it would be awful hard not to push your son to go play for Herm Edwards because he's such a likable guy.
Well, there's a respectability there.
Yeah, and you would know, and you know that your son would be a better man by playing for him, because he not only teaches you how to play football the right way, he also creates men.
Well,
look at what he did with the Under Armour games, the high school kids.
Yeah.
He loved his time with those kids. He's got he's got 14 recruits at ASU that were kids that he worked with in the Under Armour program. That's high school kids. He's got 14 players on his roster right now that are Under Armour kids because he already knows their skills.
Mm-hmm.
This is the story of the Pac-12 right now, is the coaching, because you have so many different storylines. In Washington, Chris Peterson, this is going to be his best chance at making some serious noise since he left Boise State. Peterson has his best team in Washington right now. You've got Chip Kelly at UCLA. We're going to see what Chip Kelly can do. We know his offensive prowess. He's one of the best strategic coaches, I think, in the Pac-12. Herm Edwards at Arizona State. We're going to be interested to see what they can do. We always, want to know what USC is doing. Whether
we can't discount UCLA though.
No, with Chip Kelly at the helm, I think they're going to be
Kelly at the helm. Yeah, he's going to turn that. He's going to turn that program around in quick.
Well, the benefit there is that their division is not particularly strong. I mean, USC is the only team in the top 25 right now.
Yeah, they're the South.
Yeah. So, outside of USC, and you don't know what you're getting from USC on a year-to-year basis.
No. So, with Darnold gone, I think they've been gutted.
This is the problem with the Pac-12 in general. The Pac-12 is one of the weakest of the Power 5 conferences.
It is.
There's no way that a Pac-12 team is going to have the firepower to stand up to an SEC team or a Big 12 team, or a Big 10 team, excuse me. Big 12 is a little bit weak too now, but I just don't see how the Pac-12 can really stand up to some of the top tier programs right now.
Mm-hmm.
They got, I think 14 of the top 25 throughout the conference. Oregon is in at 24. I think Washington and either USC or UCLA are probably the front runners to win the Pac-12. But honestly, unless Washington just runs the table, I don't know that a Pac-12 team is going to be in the playoffs.
No, I don't see a Pac-12 team because it's just the problem. The big problem with the Pac-12
mm-hmm.
stigma it has.
Okay.
because you got a lot of Southern California teams. A lot of California teams in that. You got the Cal Bears, you got Stanford, you've got USC, UCLA, San Diego State just came into the Pac-12. There's 5 teams in that. It's like the West Coast. And a lot of people have the attitude the West Coast is like, "Hey, man, we're just chilling, man. We're kicking back."
Well, you've got so many schools that are recruited. I mean, California is not the strongest high school football state to begin with, and you've got so many schools vying for talent in a very narrow pool, and none of the states surrounding California are high school hotbeds either. So, you're really having to draw people from across the country. They just don't have the recruiting infrastructure that an Alabama, an Ohio State, a Michigan, or a Georgia have.
That's why I'm thinking this. Yeah, Herm Edwards and Arizona State Sun Devils, they're probably going to be 7-5, between 6-6 and 8-4 when all season's all said and done. If they go 500 or better, it's been a successful season for his first season at ASU.
Mm-hmm.
He is in the process of building something. He wants to build that program up. And who of any of the coaches in the Pac-12, with the exception of maybe Chip Reed, or is it Chip Kelly? Which one is that? UCLA?
Chip Kelly.
Okay, you got 2 known factors in Herm Edwards and Chip Kelly as head coaches in the Pac-12 now. They are going to have a lot of pull with kids from the Midwest, from Texas, from Florida, from the recruiting hotbeds. I wouldn't be surprised within the next 5 years, we're talking about UCLA and Arizona State being the top 2 teams in that Pac-12 conference.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the coaches.
It is a distinct possibility. I mean, college football can turn around on a dime.
Yes,
we talk about the Pac-12 being down right now. It wasn't that long ago where USC was just dominating everybody.
Right.
So, there's no rule that says the Pac-12 has to stay weak.
No, I mean, for years, the SEC was weak.
It's hard to imagine that now, considering how dominant they've been.
Right.
The last few years.
For years, the Big Ten was dominant. Now they're pretty middle of the road. Yeah. The Big 12 before it was the Big 12, the Big 8 and all that. They were dominant for you had the Nebraskas and everything else, killing everybody. And they're down. Basketball, college football, and the Power 5 conferences of college football is cyclical, just like professional wrestling is cyclical.
Mm-hmm.
It has up times and it has down times. Each conference has its up times and its down times.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that SEC has been running roughshod over everybody lately, which is good for me because my team's been 3 out of the last 4 or 4 out of the last 5 championships. Is it BIFF?
Your team?
They won last year. They were runner-up the year before. They did not play in the national championship before that, and then I think they won.
So they won 3 of 5.
I think they're 2 of 5 because Ohio State snuck in there in 2014, and then we had 2012 and 2013 when we went back-to-back on LSU and Notre Dame. So it gets hard to keep up with all these titles.
All I know is that Saban's got 5 with Alabama.
Yeah, he's got the 1 with LSU, and then he has 5 with Alabama so far. So,
and if he wins 1 more, he'll have the 7, the magic number to tie Bear. Even though Bear, I love Bear Bryant. He's the one that got me involved.
The problem you're going to run into trying to compare those is all the claim national championships versus the kind of the more firm system they use now. But let me ask you this question then, because we went through all the Power 5 conferences. Is there any team in college football not in a Power 5 conference that you see having any type of factor in the end?
No.
Anybody outside making the playoff for you?
No.
Okay.
We had that possibility last year and it didn't happen.
I'm going to hot take you.
That was what was that? What was that? Florida Atlantic.
Yeah, the fake
and
the fake
didn't
the
get
pretenders.
and they didn't get in.
Yeah,
Which I felt they deserved to be in. In all honesty, I felt that they deserved to be in because of the record. On their record alone.
Well, if they had gotten in, Alabama wouldn't have. So,
I would have accepted it because of the record. I would have accepted it.
Well, I prefer the national championship myself, but
I said I prefer the national championship. Don't get me wrong. I said, but if they had gotten in and Alabama was knocked out because of them, I may not have liked it, but I would have accepted it.
Well, give me your Final Four, your playoff teams. Then who do you think the Final Four are going to be for the playoffs?
You really want me to do that, don't you?
I really want you to do that.
Alabama number 1.
Okay.
Okay.
Number 2 will be Clemson, unfortunately.
Okay.
3 is going to be Wisconsin.
Okay.
And 4 will be Penn State.
Okay, so you got 2 coming out of the Big Ten.
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to take.
Excuse me. 4 is Michigan, the Wolverines.
Hey.
Okay, so still.
My final 2 is Alabama versus Michigan.
Okay. I'm going to take you.
I can't because 1 plays 4, 2 plays 3. So it'll be put Michigan at 3 and Penn State at 4.
So you're saying Michigan wins the Big Ten, basically?
Right. Yeah.
All right.
Put Wisconsin at 4. Sorry, babe. Wisconsin falls at the sword of Alabama.
All right.
And by the way, a real quick thing.
Good. Go ahead.
We have someone that's we had a wild sighting in our chat.
Wild sighting. What? Oh, hey. Hi, Sal.
Hi, Don Sal.
One wild Don Sal is in the chat room. Good morning to you, sir. Or I should say good afternoon to you. Glad you're here. Anyway, what are yours?
That's
all right. I'm going to hot take you. Okay, so get ready for this because it's going to shock you. And this is the big if. If Washington upsets Auburn, and even though Washington is ranked higher than Auburn, I still think it would be an upset. I think Auburn is a better team. If Washington beats Auburn, I think Washington has an outside shot at getting into the Final Four.
Okay. I'll give you that.
I don't think Washington.
I don't think Washington will be able to do it.
No, I don't either. So here's my
because Washington's playing Auburn at Auburn.
Yeah. So here's my official prediction.
Good luck.
I think the number 1 seed will be the ACC champion Clemson Tigers because I think Clemson goes undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think South Carolina is going to be able to stand up to them. I would love for the Gamecocks to knock them off, but I don't see it happening. I say Clemson runs the table, and they are number 1 because I have Alabama at number 2. I think Alabama is going to pick up 1 loss, probably the LSU game, but they will still come out of the West, and they will beat South Carolina or Georgia, whoever, and they will be the number 2 seed. I've got at number 3 the Big Ten champion Nittany Lions. I've got Penn State at number 3. At number 4, this is my hot take team. This is my shocker. I think they take care of business tonight. They beat Michigan at home. I think they surprise people. I think Brian Kelly has got it figured out. The number 4 playoff team, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Wow.
I've got Notre Dame in as a surprise number 4. I think Notre Dame is going to shock some people. I think this is the year that Notre Dame puts it together and they're back into the national title picture. So I've got Clemson and Notre Dame as the first playoff matchup, and then I've got Alabama and Penn State, which sets up a rematch, Clemson versus Alabama for the national championship. And you know who I'm going with. I've got Alabama repeating as national champions.
There's one person I know, and I'm definitely going to tweet the link to him for just that, for what you just said there. His name is Mike Golick. You want to talk about a homer for Notre Dame? Oy.
Well, he went there, and I've got a good
He went
friend.
there. His sons went there. Both of his sons played football at Notre Dame.
Well, I'm going to tell. Well, I got a friend that's a big Notre Dame fan, so he's going to enjoy that.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you exactly why I like Notre Dame. Okay. Now this is dependent on them taking care of business tonight. If they come out and they drop a deuce on the field and lose to Michigan, then screw you, Notre Dame. But Notre Dame has a fairly difficult schedule, but it's a schedule against some teams that I think are better on paper than they are in reality.
Well, the problem with Notre Dame, and it's been the issue, they are an independent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they're not in any conference whatsoever.
That is
one of the
Notre
things.
Dame has to go 11-1 or 12-0.
That is one of the things that has hamstrung Notre Dame.
Yeah,
over the years.
Here's why I feel confident about them this year, though. Now they have a pretty solid team, but the benefit for Notre Dame, they are getting a bunch of ACC teams in a down year for the ACC. They're getting Syracuse. They're getting Florida State, which Florida State, I don't trust them whatsoever. They're getting Pitt. They're getting Virginia Tech, which that's an easily winnable game. I also don't like Stanford all that much. I think Stanford is a paper tiger, and that'll be a marquee win for them. Stanford, number 13 in the country right now. The only games that concern me for Notre Dame is Michigan and then at USC to close out the year. Those are the only two games that I think are difficult for them. If they can beat Michigan tonight, they're going to reel off, 6 or 7 pretty easy wins in a row. And now you're going to start hearing people talk about Notre Dame. It all comes down to USC. If they can beat USC, I think Notre Dame gets in as the number 4 playoff team. And I think they give Clemson a run for their money, but I still think it's Clemson, Alabama to decide the national title.
Oh, man.
That would be epic.
What I would love to see more than anything, and it's something I've seen Notre Dame do once. They rolled out a freaking Trojan horse when they played the Trojans. This was when Era Parsegian was the coach. That tells you how long
ago.
God,
yeah, we're talking way back in the day.
It was in the 70s, boss.
Okay.
I know it. Yeah.
And I saw that, and I was like, man, I would love to see them do that again.
Well, we'll see about that. We'll see.
That would be really telling USC, look, we're out to get you.
Breaking news. Breaking news. BIFF might have been right. We're on upset alert. Upset alert. Maryland up by 10 on Texas late in the second. Maryland up on Texas 24-14. My prediction of Maryland might be coming true.
Don't count your chickens.
It's Texas. Who gives a hockey? Texas sucks.
All right, I guess that ends it.
Well,
I don't think
the one thing that I've learned about American football is because I got this from me reading a manga, and the thing that I love to quote whenever people were saying that you're facing tough times on the field, anyone will face humiliation once or twice while playing. Player that never suffered from it doesn't exist.
No.
First-class players, as a tribute to all their efforts, will quickly stand up. Average players will stand up after a little while, and the losers will keep lying down on the ground.
That's the truth.
That's Darrell Royal's letter.
Taker, you gave us your playoff teams, but you didn't give us the matchups or who you thought was advancing.
So it would be
You had Alabama at 1 and Clemson at 2. Then you had
Wisconsin 3,
or you had Michigan 3,
Michigan 3,
and Penn State 4.
and Penn State 4.
So I'm guessing Alabama and Penn State. You got Alabama.
Alabama, Penn State, Alabama wins.
Okay.
Clemson, Michigan wins.
That would be a hell of a game.
Michigan versus Alabama in the championship. Alabama walks all over them. Number
Okay.
6, number 7 for Mr. Nick Saban.
We're not biased here, folks. We're just that freaking good. So
Biased.
you shut your dirty mouth.
Since when has that ever stopped us from
You
doing whatever we
shut
wanted?
your pie hole there, MDS, you Liverpool traitor.
You were about to call him a liberal. I was like, wow.
No.
Curse him, why don't you?
Well, technically speaking, if you guys really want to know, I'm a center-leaning conservative, so
I think all three of us are conservative on this channel. So.
I'm conservative. as
but
well.
I'm open. But I'm open to listening to people rather than just argue and just shout
I
at
am-
shout
I
in
am
front of my
too.
face. But in any case,
Okay,
am too.
I have one more piece of housekeeping business that I have forgotten about.
oh, housekeeping. Go ahead.
Yesterday, one of our listeners and frequent guests on this show celebrated their birthday.
Ooh,
Happy birthday to Miss Ambrose Alley.
yay! How old are you?
I don't know. I didn't ask.
29 and holding.
29 and older.
That's the safe answer.
Congratulations! Happy birthday! Happy I don't know how old are you birthday. Many
It's-
happy
it-
returns of the day.
Best sometimes we not know.
Yeah.
Happy birthday and eternal youth to you, Ambrose Alley. We
Mhm.
love you. Happy,
All right.
happy
May you
birthday.
stay as infamous as ever.
And on that note,
Oh, before that, there's a couple small housekeeping duties I need to give out.
okay.
Because I just poked into the Twitter feed now. Okay. Number 1, Big Cass now is not known as Big Cass. Now he's Big C. Put that
Yes.
as you will.
Yeah, I heard that last
Put
week.
that as you will. Number 2, Rey Mysterio might be going to WWE after every single thing that he has wrapped up, even All In for that matter.
Yeah, I think
Put
after
that
all,
as you
it's a done deal.
Number 3, and this might be the spiciest thing that you can hear. Some people might say that WWE is going to stick on Becky Lynch being strapped with the title. Eventually. Just time will tell what WWE is going to do with Becky Lynch, but
Okay, when you said
Somehow they
spicy and Becky Lynch strap, that's not where I thought you were going. So
get your head out from the gutter.
Get your-
Even though you already booked,
Stop playing patty cake with your best friend. It okay?
it's not my fault that I'm naked right now. Okay.
and
I
the
don't need
naked
that. I don't
and
need
the
that
naked
video.
guy returns. And the naked guy returns. In any case, I think that's also high time for us to just
Well, no, I got some housekeeping myself. Some
no,
actually.
your housekeeping is putting clothes on.
You don't know that I don't have clothes on right now. For your information, I could be fully dressed.
Anyway, what's your housekeeping stuff there, Biff?
I wanted to make a point, and this was an important point. All seriousness, I gotta be serious for this one.
Okay.
I just wanted to let everyone know how thankful I am for being on the show today and being able to do this because we've been joking and having a good time, but I'm the world's worst at it. I take for granted the fact that I'm just going to wake up every day and just enjoy life, and it's very much something that I should consider precious. It was touch and go there in the hospital for a long time, and I'm very thankful to be back. Very thankful to be able to hang out with you guys and have fun on sports and wrestling, and just have one more day because you never know when your time card's getting punched. I just about checked out a few weeks ago, so I'm thankful for all the kind thoughts and well wishes and prayers that everybody offered up. I had to make sure I said that. And even more important than that, for those of you that will be watching All In tonight, don't expect Kenny Omega to lick the sweat off Kota Ibushi. But
Well, that's a funny note. Yeah.
yeah,
And Biff, now you know how I feel when I found out that leukemia is deadly.
yeah.
So, I mean,
It
it's
is-
a good feeling to have. You live every day as if it's a precious thing to do. So,
You live every day as precious, and you be thankful for the time that you have.
yeah.
You know, that's funny you guys to say that because, this is tough.
Do you really need to say it, or do you want
Yeah,
to
I
keep it?
do.
Yeah.
I do.
I think I know where he's going. So yeah,
With the death of both of my parents, you know, I was dealing with a lot of fear after that because I'm next. And it's really hit home. I know my time's going to end now.
Mhm.
And that's a hard thing to accept. So I try to live each day as it's precious because I don't know if I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning. I don't. And that is, something you start to realize as you get older. I'm in my middle 50s now.
Mhm.
And you start thinking about it.
Yeah.
It's real, people. It's there. So all of it, yeah, I've not had the near-death experiences you two have had. I've been lucky like that. But I look at what's, I'm not so much looking at what I've done in the past. I'm looking forward as to what I want to do. And that's what I try to do now is, and I think all of us are like that now. We want that one more day. We need that one more day. The want side is bigger than the need side.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's the most important part is you got to want it more than you need it. Because
Yeah,
we all need more time.
we do.
But-
But we're given. All of us are given. Here's the thing: all of us are given the same amount of time, 24 hours in one day. If you want to go stretch one more, 7 weeks, 7 days in a week, 365 days in a year, and a quarter, if you want to count that. But all of us are given the same amount of time
Every
in
day.
this God-given Earth every single day. The only thing that's different is how you use the day.
Yep.
So, I mean, I hate to bring this on a downer, but yeah.
It's not a downer. No, it's not a
I
downer.
hate to bring it on a realistic kind of tone.
But sometimes it needs to go that way because we have to bring people back to reality.
Yeah, it's good to be reminded.
Professional wrestling, and something that was posted earlier this week that I'm going to suggest everybody go find and read on K-Side.
Hmm.
It was put out by the Saskatchewan Spitting Nerve Hold. It's the view of Raw superstars through the eyes of a 7-year-old.
Oh, I love that. That was so
That
good.
was one of the greatest articles.
Love that article.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Sketch,
I
you
read it.
done good.
Sketch
Number
is-
5.
Number 5
just-
is a
I mean,
Man.
here's the thing though. I'll say this out loud for it. It makes me can't wait to have a kid. Even though I feel like I'm not ready to have a kid, it feels like I can't wait to have one now. Even though I'm actually making a good progress in taking care of my or taking care of my very small cousin, my very small cousin. You can say that because that's my sister's baby. So
infant cousin.
yeah, it's cousin. So I love her to death, and I think she knows it.
She's not your cousin. If it's your sister's child, it's your niece.
Yeah, it's my niece. So I love her to death, and I know that every time she smiles and whatnot, I'll post a picture. I'll post a picture up or on Twitter later on.
Because there's so many there. But the thing about it is, and I speak from experience. I don't know about you, Biff. I've had kids, and there are so many firsts that are so precious. First smile, or the first time they recognize you as who you are. Just by the look on their face. They may not be able to communicate with you, but when, you walk into the room and they see you and they recognize you and they smile, or their first steps, the first words, the first day of school. All those firsts are important.
I actually, my ex-wife, she's my ex-wife now. We actually lost our baby.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry to hear that.
We got a chance to help take care of my niece, though. So
you understand the firsts.
Yeah, my niece had special needs. She actually was injured as a child, and she almost didn't make it. And so we spent a lot of time helping her with her recovery, kind of being there for her. So I didn't get a chance to raise my own child, but was there for my niece. So I know exactly what y'all are talking about. So.
Yeah, but again,
taking care of yourself is the most. You got to be able to take care of yourself before you can be trusted to take care of another life.
Yes, that's true. And I get back to the whole article. I mean, that it just makes me just happy, warm inside.
That was.
So sweet. I can't.
I mean, certain Baron Corbin. Boo! I mean, I could not stop. I'm reading it and I'm giggling at all these comments, and I'm like, that sounds like a 7-year-old. That sounds like me as a 7-year-old.
You know what it is? You know what I think the best way to describe what you're talking about? It's viewing the world without the cynicism that comes with age.
Yes,
exactly.
And that's exactly what I commented. I said, I've got this podcast, and I am such a cynic.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm such a cynic. I'm so critical, and I need to take about 100 steps back and look at it and realize professional wrestling is not for me. It's for the kids.
I mean,
So I need to be a kid again.
Yeah. You got it. It's because I think as we grow up, I think I'm going to do this in a quick note. As we grow up, we remove our rose-tinted glasses. We see things in a more realistic, more cynical point of view in this time, because we need to be realistic. We need to be more grounded. We need to be thinking about the now. Because that's how life is. Because we need to think about what we're going to do with the whole thing, with everything that we have. And sometimes we forget that. Yeah, back then we were kids. We were just thinking about, okay, what's for food? What's for food later? What's for dinner? What's on TV later? I am enjoying this show too much. I like it, and that's the thing that we forget. Because sometimes
all of us have forgotten how to be a kid.
I mean, here's my word of the wise before we quickly go and wrap this up.
Yep.
Growing up does not necessarily mean you have to grow old. That's the adage, that's the mantra that I live for up to this day. Because you can grow up, but that doesn't necessarily mean I have to be that necessarily mean that I have to always be 100% mature, serious, responsible adult. Sometimes it's good to be a kid again. It's the little things. It's the little things that you have to enjoy sometimes in life.
Yeah.
So,
are you a Toys R Us kid?
No, I'm not.
I'm
not a Toys R Us kid. I grew up with plastic models. I'll tell you this because over here, I grew up with Gundam building plastic models. I grew up with comic books. I grew up with manga. And I grew up with tokusatsus and TV shows that are actually men in spandex and helmets yelling out "It's morphin' time" in Japanese. They actually do yell "It's morphing time" again a couple of years ago, but I digress.
Are you a Full Metal Alchemist fan by any chance?
I am a huge Full Metal Alchemist fan.
Oh, dude! Oh my God, it's my favorite manga of all time.
We're gonna talk later on this one.
But
I mean,
that's the message. The message I want to pass along to everybody today, and I hope you guys take it to heart.
Mm-hmm.
Stay in touch with your inner child. Don't let yourself become a cynic.
Definitely.
Don't become a cynic like this old crotchety old bastard.
Or this young crotchety bastard here.
You know, I mean, I try not to be critical. I'm going to work very hard at trying not to be so critical of WWE and what they do.
Mhm.
I'm just going to try to be me.
Of course.
Good luck with that, pal. WWE ain't
Yes,
gonna make it easy.
we
on
do
you.
have to congratulate Hawaii,
Mm-hmm.
Little League World
the
Champions.
Little League
Mhm.
kids.
Yep.
The Little League kids.
You know, man, what a great story that was. Went undefeated in the Little League World Series, outscored everybody, outscored their opponents 26-3. Beat a very, very good South Korean team to win it all.
I actually watched Hawaii beat Georgia in the hospital. That was one of my first memories coming around from being out of it. I actually saw the Little League game with the Hawaii and Georgia that went into extra innings.
Mhm.
So that was
And
kind of
it
cool.
was
that
like,
they wound
you
up
know,
winning.
Yeah, I mean, it's like those kids were on a mission.
That was a good team. It was a really fun World Series.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Go
ahead.
I was going to say, I need to throw in one add-on to what Taker was saying. With respect to being a Toys R Us kid, I almost died at a Toys R Us. So,
Oh my God.
I would like to throw in the addendum: do not climb on a shelf trying to get to a Ninja Turtle balloon. It does not end well.
God.
I pulled the entire shelf over and I cut my head real bad and barely missed getting crushed. So,
Have you learned your lesson?
Unfortunately, Toys R Us is no longer.
yeah,
That
I was a lawsuit waiting to happen, so they had to go away.
You know, it's. But anyway,
I mean, I'll end this on this on a quick note because I'm going to give a shout out to MGo316. You can catch him on YouTube and you can catch him on Twitter as well. If you guys know who he is, he's a toy reviewer. You don't stop playing because you grow old. You grow old because you stop playing. So.
I love that line.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I absolutely love that.
Mm-hmm.
I
love
like
it.
I like Kenny
It's
Omega
far
taking
better.
sweat off Kenny Kodabushi. So
Come on.
That's enough. Okay, Biff, where can they find you?
Mm-hmm.
when I'm not dreaming about Kodabushi, you can,
Yes. When you're not dreaming about Kodabushi.
well, hopefully not in the hospital anytime soon. I've had enough of that for a lifetime. You can find me on the Twitter at Real Deal Biff. That's DILL, like the pickle.
Yeah.
You can find me over at Cateside Seats. I'm typically bitching about something in the daily or nightly thread.
Although you're doing history lessons too on the nightly.
I'm a nerd. I'm sorry.
Hey, that's cool.
I'm a space nerd. I'm looking forward to it, and I like to talk history. So,
That's cool.
you can actually be making my return to the Connoisseurs of Wrestling on Monday, God willing.
You'll be there.
I'm holding out hope that I make it, and it's a day-to-day thing right now. But thankful to get on Metal Match Show last night. Had a good time today, and looking forward to getting back in the saddle on Monday. Be my first show ever with George. This will be the first time I ever got to speak with George in person. So
George is a good guy.
Looking forward to that.
George has been. I'm going to say this right now.
Quick.
George has been as worried about you as I have and LL has.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you brought that up because I didn't mention this earlier, and I wanted to go on record publicly. I just want to thank you and LL both for the messages that you sent me while I was in the hospital. Y'all stayed in touch, and I just want to let you know that I appreciate that. I appreciate George's thoughts too, and everybody's.
Well, the thing about it is, Biff, and I told you in the messages, we told you in the messages that we love you.
I love you guys too. You're like
the crazy brother I never had.
Y'all are very close friends of mine. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I thank y'all for thinking of me while I was in the hospital.
And we saved the Midnight Express with Jim Cornette for you.
And thank you, George, for all that you've done over the last couple of weeks coming on board. I'm glad to have you with us. And also, big thanks to Sketch. We mentioned him in his article. Big thanks to him. He also sent his well wishes while I was in the hospital. So a big thanks to him. We still have our podcast project coming up. We'll be talking more about that in a couple of weeks whenever we get the details worked out. So
We did.
it's going to be an exciting couple of weeks. Looking forward to it.
We brought it up.
I never heard it. I've been listening the whole time I've been home.
We're being
Okay.
yelled at us saying we didn't talk about the Hawaii team. Yes, we did.
The little league?
Yes,
Yeah, we
We
just
did.
talked about them like 2 minutes ago.
just about 3-4 minutes ago.
I never heard it.
Well, go
You
back
guys
and
been
go
talking
back
about
and
everything else.
go back and listen.
Ring a ding ding, baby.
Anyway,
Hi, LL. I love you.
In any case, I mean, I think I
and
could
that's where they
forego.
find you.
Yeah, they can find me on Twitter at Mr. Dr. Senju. That's MRDR Senju. You can also catch me on Shootin Da Breeze's official Twitter. That's SHOOTINDABREEZ1. You can also catch me on the daily as well as the nightly on Cage Side Seats. Hopefully so. And I think that's pretty much it. I think I am eligible enough to say that I will be foregoing doing the plugins just for this week because
Mhm.
we are close to out of time.
Right.
I hate to leave you guys on a on a sour note, so I'm gonna leave with the happy thoughts that we put. Growing up does not, and remember, you don't stop playing because you grow old. You grow old because you stop playing. Growing up doesn't necessarily mean you have to grow old. Smile. Make sure to smile. All right. Be nice to one another. For takers. Oh, and for takers.
I haven't
For
gotten
takers-
mine in. How dare
Yes,
you?
I know. I'm working there. I'm working there. Hang on. For TakersMinion, where can they catch you, sir? Good sir.
You can catch me on Twitter, of course, at takers_minion. That's all lowercase.
Mhm.
I'm currently on sabbatical from the daily and the nightly. I do read other things on K-Side. Also, the first Saturday in October,
Mhm.
we're going to have a mailbag show that's strictly it's strictly you and me, MDS, and they can contact us through our Twitter.
Should I
Also, they can
either on
contact
Twitter? Yeah, either on Twitter.
either on Twitter for our individual Twitter, the Shootin Da Breeze Twitter,
Mhm.
or you can email us directly at capital S and shootin dot DA dot capital B R EEZE1
Mhm.
at gmail.com with any questions you might have about wrestling
Anything
in
really.
general or anything
Wrestling in
other
general, but anything other than wrestling in general. But,
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, you
And-
got till the first week of October, first Saturday of October
Yes.
to
We're going to
submit your
open.
questions.
So basically, we're going to open the mailbox. We're going to open Twitter, both the official ones and our personal ones, for any kind of questions the listeners or you guys may have. So please, 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 I'll try and promote this out as I can, and I'll try to just hopefully we'll get some interesting questions for Graps or outside of Graps even. So,
Yep.
and that's pretty much it. This has
All
been.
I can say
Go ahead.
this,
Mhm.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stay in touch with your inner child.
Oh, of course.
It'll make your life much more fun.
Why do you think
and might make it easier for you to watch WWE wrestling.
Yeah. I mean, the article is just so.
That's
freaking
sound
hilarious.
advice in that article.
Yes, but in any case,
Don't
this is-
embrace your inner child while you're watching adult material. That's weird.
Oh. Good job on this one. This has been Shootin' Da Breeze episode 58. The variety show of Shootin' Da Breeze. Apologies for stretching this show a little bit too long, but I think word to the wise to myself, I think I should cut off on the wrestling more and concentrate more on the variety of the show when I talk about the variety show.
Obviously, you should have me on more often.
Nope. We
Well,
probably
welcome back, Biff. Welcome back, Biff.
I add the spice of life to this show.
Welcome back, Biff. Welcome back. For TakersMinion, for Biff Kensington the Third, you can catch him on any of our shows, any of his shows as well, because we're jumping on one another.
Ubiquitous.
Be ubiquitous. Again, make sure to smile, all right? Be nice to one another. All that good stuff, all that good shit. I'll see you next week.
Bye.